start with?
Well, let's see who we have here. Looks like first on my calendar is Joe Muhammad.
All right, Mr. Muhammad, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Is there a next step or a resolution in this case?
In this case, unfortunately, I've had a chance to look at the record in this case. He simply doesn't qualify for any deductions of any kind, but it's really only two options, or one offer, two options at this point, either plead guilty or set the matter for a trial.
Okay. Mr. Muhammad, those are your options, but the prosecutor is not going to be offering anything. Of course, you still have the presumption of innocence, so like you stated, your options are acceptance for trial, or if you'd like to be guilty, no contest, the only main issue would be the fine thing as far as the court is concerned. And so, how would you like to proceed from here, sir?
I don't know guilty, and I just wanted to get for about what's going on that day.
Okay, absolutely, we can absolutely set this for trial. So, Lisa, when would be a good day for a trial? We have an opening sometime next month, so. Alright, October 6th, yeah, if you're not Mr. Muhammad, if you're coming in, please everyone mute your microphone, that's how we get everyone to you can. On this basically a Zoom call, right, we'll just mute, it's very, very hard to hear once we have the microphone open at the time, thank you. Alright, Mr. Muhammad, looks like the next time that you go to trial would be October 6th at 5:30 p.m. We will send you a link to court that day, and then the prosecutor has the burden of trying to prove your guilt beyond reasonable doubt. If he's unable to do so, you maintain your presumption of innocence. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll send you that, like I said, that link here.
Thank you so much.
Yep, have a good day, sir.
You're welcome.
Looks like Matthew Summers is on our calendar as well.
All right, Mr. Summers, you with us, sir?
Yes, sir. Is that working?
Yep, we can hear you now. Case number 225-400-557. Mr. Allard, is there a next step or resolution in this case?
Yes, there is. Mr. Summers is charged with 21 over, which would otherwise exclude him from the plea in abeyance option. However, I've agreed to amend the charge to 19 over, and he will qualify for the plea in abeyance traffic school option if he would like to proceed with that.
Sir?
Let me... looking up real quick, I don't remember what 19 over is, I should know that by now.
And I don't know either.
Looking at us right now. It looks like it would come down from 280 to 210. And so if you were to plead guilty, the guilty plea would be held in abeyance and just put up on the shelf for 12 months. At the end of the 6 months, if there were no moving violations due to the online traffic school, you have 30 days to do it, so by September 18th, and then took care of that $210 fine. Those three things are done at the end of the 6 months. Gets automatically dismissed. Is that what you'd like to do this, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So to the amended charge of 19 over, how do you plead that amended charge?
Guilty.
Very good. So to accept the guilt due to the amended charge again, we're not entering today. We'll hold the blame staying for 6 months again. 6 months, no moving violations. To the online traffic school on September 18th, and the $210 fine. We're going to send you a copy of the order, so we'll have the information on where to log in and take that online traffic school. We'll also have information on if you want to pay the fine online, how to take care of that. Fine can be paid all in 30 days, broken up in installments, payments or community service. What would you prefer?
Just one payment works.
Okay. So by September 18th, then, you need to have the traffic school done, and you need to have paid the fine in this case, and then after that, it'll just be 5 more months of no moving violations. At the end of the 6 months, it's automatically dismissed if you've done your part. So if we think there's a violation, we'll contact you and let you know you have an opportunity to come in and understand why we think there's a violation. You don't have to file anything, you don't have to ask the court for dismissal. It's done automatically, but certainly if you want to call in and you see what the status is, feel free to do so. Happy to make sure you understand what's going on.
Okay, thank you guys.
You're welcome. Have a good day, sir.
You too.
Your Honor, it looks like Jerem Gurr has logged in.
All right, Jerem Gurr, 225-400-540. Mr. Gurr, you there, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Allred?
Yeah, Mr. Gurr and I have spoken. He is charged with a 70 and a 55. He has a clean record. We discussed the various options, including traffic school, and he wanted to consider those options, and I think he's going to let us know at this point which direction he'd like to go.
Yeah, so I did ultimately decide to go through with traffic school, just so I can keep it off my record. So.
Okay. Then just like the gentleman before you, if you plead guilty, we won't enter today. We'll hold it in advance. That's kind of what traffic was called, the plea in advance. At the end of the 6 months, if there's been no moving violations, complete the traffic school by September 18th of 2022, and then again, you pay that fine. We talked about how you want to pay that fine. Then that would be dismissed. Is that what you'd like to do then?
Yes.
Okay. Then with the understanding that it will be held in advance, how do you plead to one charge of speeding, 70 and a 55?
Nope.
Very good. The court accepted the guilty plea, but we won't enter today. We'll hold it in advance as we discussed. We'll just put it on a shelf. 6 months of moving violations, traffic by September 18th, and the $100 is still fine. We will send your copy of the order today that will have the information on where to log in and what website to go to take that online traffic rule. Determine that fine. You can pay that all at once within 30 days by September 18th. Break it up into small payments for community service, or would you prefer for the payment?
I can do it in one payment.
Okay. So anytime between now and September 18th, the order that we're going to get from today will also have the information on how to pay that online if you'd like. You can call in, walk in, or mail in a payment if you prefer to do that instead of online, but all those options will be available to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good day, sir. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you as well.
Your Honor, I believe Benjamin Wilson appears to be on with us.
All right, Mr. Wilson, you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Case 225-400-554, Mr. Allred.
Yes, in Mr. Wilson's case, unfortunately, the prior record does not permit me to offer any deviations from the charge, no plea in advance or anything like that. So really the only two options at this time would be guilty or no contest, or set the matter for a trial.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, sounds like those are your options. Would you like to set this matter for trial? If you choose to plead guilty or no contest, it would just be the $160 fine payment and how you want to pay it all at once, broken up for community service. So, any questions for me before you'd let me know?
If I just paid the fine, like, would that still, like, put points on my record, or?
It would, yeah. By pleading guilty or pleading no contest, or if you're found guilty to trial, that would go to the DMV as a conviction, any of those three, and that would put some points on your record. You do have an opportunity through the DMV to take a defensive driving course that takes 20 or 30 points off. You do it once every few years, so that's another option that's always available, and that's outside the course. That's just something the driver's license division offers, but that's directly through them.
Yeah. Wait, what were my options again? I'm sorry.
No, that's absolutely. So set it for trial, right? You are innocent unless the prosecution can prove beyond a reasonable doubt otherwise. So one option is, hey, let's just find a trial date. The prosecutor has the burden of trying to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And if he is unable to prove each element of the speeding beyond a reasonable doubt, you maintain the presumption of innocence. So setting for trial is one option. Or if you wanted to plead guilty or no contest tonight, the only remaining issue would just be that $160 fine payment and how you wanted to pay it all at once, broken up into small payments for community service.
Can I set up the trial?
Certainly you can. Yep. So do we just want to do it the same night? Just do one at 5:30 and one at 6 on October 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. Let's go ahead and set for trial October 6th at 6 p.m. And so you'll get an email invitation to court that night. I usually send an invitation for the whole evening, and so you're welcome to come to any of it you want. But your trial will start at 6.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome to see you then, sir.
All right, bye.
Let's see, it looks like Nathaniel Smith is also present.
All right, Daniel Smith, you there, sir?
Hey, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir. Mr. Allred?
Yeah, Mr. Smith and I also spoke, and he has a clean record, does qualify for the plea in abeyance option. However, he wanted to think about his options, and I think he's going to let the court know which direction he'd like to go.
Okay. Mr. Smith, what would you like to do? You can accept the plea in abeyance and do that. You can set this for trial, or you can plead guilty or no contest, and then it would just be the fine payment. What direction would you like to go?
So forgive me, I'm illiterate. How do you spell plea in abeyance? What is?
Yeah, it's P-L-E-A is plea. In is a separate word, and then abeyance is A-B-E-Y-A-N-C-E. So, I don't know why we can't just use normal English words, but plea and abeyance is actually 3 separate words, and it just means that if someone accepts it, although they plead guilty, we don't enter, we hold it in abeyance, meaning we just put it up on a shelf for 6 months. It just sits there. And if at the end of the 6 months you've completed the 3 things, it gets automatically dismissed. If during the 3 months or the 6-month period you violated one of the terms, you didn't pay the fine, or you got another traffic ticket, you didn't do the traffic school, then you've already pled guilty, and so we just pull it off the shelf and enter it. So at the end of the 6 months, whether it's pulled off the shelf and entered or dismissed, it would be dependent on if you did those 3 things. That's what the holding in abeyance means. It's there, kind of a carrot and stick approach, but that's how that works. So again, you have no obligation to take it. You can take it. You successfully complete, no points go on your record, which is why people do it. But again, you don't have to take it. You can plead guilty, no contest, or set up for trial as well.
And if I understand correctly, that option is I pay the fine and I do the other couple of options or other couple of requirements. and as you said, there would be no points on my record or anything.
Correct. Yeah. So the 3 things would be 6 months, no moving violations. That would start today. So no text while driving, no speeding, no running a red light, anything for the next 6 months. Pay the fine, and then complete the online traffic school within 30 days. Those would be the 3 requirements. And at the end of 6 months, if you've successfully done those 3 things, then it's dismissed.
Okay. What determines if I were to, and I apologize if I'm asking too much, but
No, you can ask any question you want. It's important that you understand, so no problem.
so I've never done this before, and I was really kind of curious. If I were to contest the ticket, say, like, I don't feel like it was very fair to have been given this one, was like, just because of my circumstances. What's the likelihood that I'm successful in?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You actually know way more about the case than I do. As a judge, I don't look at any evidence prior to trial, and so at trial, you would have no obligation to prove your innocence. You are innocent unless Mr. Allred is able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt each and every element of the allegation. So it'd be up to Mr. Allred to try to prove that you did not signal for 2 seconds, not your obligation to prove that you did not do it, right? Or that you did do it. So whether it's successful, I have no idea, right? I haven't seen the evidence. It depends on what evidence is. It could be the testimony of a police officer. I don't know if there's videos. I have no idea what the evidence is. I would learn it in trial for the very first time. That way I maintain my neutrality. So that's a great question. I have no idea how to answer it because I haven't seen any evidence, and I would not see any evidence unless it goes to trial.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Sure, absolutely.
So what if I admit that I made the error, but it was because of a split-second decision? How would that impact the case?
If you were to plead guilty or no contest, then it really wouldn't make any difference as far as why it happened. By pleading guilty or no contest, the conviction would be entered at that point. Certainly, I'm happy to listen to anything people have to say, but it's not like if you pled guilty or pled no contest, but here's why I did it, so it only gets half entered, right? It's either a conviction or you maintain your presumption of innocence. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Oh, no. I guess what I'm asking is there ever a case when somebody violates the traffic law, but because they kind of had to?
Yeah, there can be some exigent circumstances, but again, it depends. For example, if I'm speeding to the hospital because my wife is giving birth, I can still be found guilty of speeding. You know, the officer may not give me a ticket, the prosecutor may choose not to pursue it, but if it gets to court, then my job as a judge is not, well, was there a good reason to speed? It's just that this prosecutor is honoring that it happened, not whether you had a good rationale for speeding, right? I mean, so, and I don't know if that answers your question a little bit more. If you're coming in, would you please mute your microphones? It's really hard to hear, thank you. So.
Okay, then, yeah, that actually absolutely answers my question, because I didn't signal for 2 seconds. I felt like I needed to. So I will do the clean abeyance option.
Okay. Very good. So to do the clean abeyance, you need either plead guilty or no contest, and at the end of 6 months, it would just be automatically dismissed if you did those 3 things. So with the understanding that it will be held in abeyance, how do you plead to the 1 count of failure to signal for 2 seconds? You had to either be guilty or no contest if you wanted to do the plea in abeyance.
Does it matter? What? Okay, well then I'm not going to contest it.
Okay. We'll enter the no contest plea, but we will not enter it today. We put it up on the shelf for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, beginning today, there's no moving violations. You complete the traffic school by September 18th, and then you pay the $130 fee. At the end of the 6 months, it's automatically dismissed. So again, we'll send you a copy of the order. We'll have the information on where to log on or what website to go to take the traffic school. Concerning the $130, that can be paid all at once within 30 days, broken up into some smaller payments or community service, what you prefer.
I can do community service, you said?
Yep, 13 hours of community service is credited at $10 an hour, and so you'd have to have 13 hours of community service done through a nonprofit organization. So churches are nonprofits, public schools, elementary schools, junior highs, high schools, those are nonprofits. You know, things we normally think of like Red Cross, Salvation Army, homeless shelters, food banks. Anyway, you would find the one that works best for you, and then I would just need a letter from the nonprofit letting me know that you did the 13 hours and a brief summary of what days you were there, how much time you were there for, and a brief summary of what you did when you were there. So just a real brief summary of what you did for those 13 hours.
Okay. And would there be any options provided to me, like things that I can do, or do I have to be creative?
Well, it's not necessarily you have to be creative. We don't give a specific list because there's so many nonprofits out there, and people have different things they want to do. So again, any 501c3, any organization that's registered as a nonprofit would qualify. A lot of people do it through churches. A lot of people do it through like the city or through the county. I see a lot of people doing things that like Savers or Desert Industries or homeless shelters, pet rescue. I'm trying to think of some of the ones I've seen recently. There was some bike co-op where some guy went and helped fix up bikes that they then gave away to kids that couldn't afford bikes. And there's a ton of them that are out there, and so it kind of gives you the flexibility to find the one that, 1, interests you, and 2, works within your schedule.
Great. Do I have to tell you right now whether or not I'm going to pay the function? Okay.
Well, you have to tell me whether you're going to do the payments or the community service. You don't have to tell me who the community service would be for.
Oh, okay.
But if you started with payments and you wanted to change it to community service or vice versa, you could do that. You would just have to come back in and say, hey, I want to switch it over now, and that's fine. You can certainly do that.
And in that case, I will say that my default would be I'll just pay, but if I, yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do it like a small amount, like $50 a month, and then if you change your mind after a month and want to do community service, you can come back in?
I will pay it all up front within the 30 days.
Okay, so we pay by September 18th. Well, again, if you decide that you want to do community service instead of it, you can come in and let me know, and we can put that, because the computer system makes it kind of choose which one, kind of designate which one you're going to do, and so that's why we have to be able to track it one way or another.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions, sir?
Will I get a follow-up email that tells me everything?
You will, yeah. We'll get a copy of the order that will be sent to you that will show, that you pled no contest, what you pled no contest to, that it's held in abeyance, what the terms are. All that will be in there.
I appreciate it, Your Honor. I'll leave the video after.
Yeah, once you're done, everyone's welcome to go on with their day. You're welcome to stay if you want to. Court is open to the public, but yeah, most people when they're done, they just go about the day.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, sir.
Your Honor, I see that we have a square, looks like Cheryl, I'm assuming that's Cheryl Garcia.
All right. Ms. Garcia, can you hear us, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Case 225-400-574. Mr. Allred?
Yeah, no, I did not get a chance to speak with Ms. Garcia. However, I did get a chance to look at her record, and unfortunately, she does not qualify for the plea in advance or any other sort of reduction. So her options at this time really are either to plead guilty, no contest, or set the matter for a trial.
Okay.
So I have watched the video. Unfortunately, my first language is not English, and I haven't been able to really figure out what it all meant. And I'm also busy with my green card and everything, so I'm really trying to get the least things on my name and where I won't get in a lot of trouble.
And I believe your first language is Dutch, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, your English is very good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so it's, if you were to plead guilty, or if you were to plead no contest, or if you were to be found guilty at trial, infraction is the lowest level in the American criminal system. It's the very, very bottom of anything that it could be. There's nothing lower. And so moving violations like a speeding ticket are typically not very serious, but it would put points against your driving record. If people get too many points, their license can be suspended. You can, through the driver's license division, take the defensive driving class that can take some points off your record. It can bring that down a little bit. And so if you were to plead guilty, or if you were to plead no contest, there would be the fine payment. There would be some points that go against your record. But you could always go through the driver's license division and take a one-time defensive driving course, take some points down. Or you can set the matter for trial. If you go to trial, like I've explained before, if you are, the prosecution has to try to prove you're guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Unless he can do that, you maintain your presumption of innocence. If you were to be found guilty to trial, the same options are available to you as far as, the fine doesn't go up if you go to trial. Same options for defensive driving school are there. So, those are kind of your two options. So.
Yeah. So I know I've been kind of bad with speeding, and I don't know how many points I have, but for my job I haul over the country, so I cannot afford to lose my driver's license. So if I need to get another trial and do it that way, I will do that. If I need to do the driver's test, I'll do that. It's kind of what is the best for me.
Well, one option we can do is we can continue for a couple more weeks, let you contact the driver's license division, and you can just ask them, hey, how many points do I have? How many points? If I plead guilty to speeding 170, what would that do? Could I take a driving test? You can ask them some of those questions and see if they can answer those questions. If that might make a difference in how you choose to proceed, like I said, we can certainly continue this out a couple weeks and give you a chance to call them, because they're the ones, they'll be able to tell you how many points you have. They'll be able to tell you what this might or might not do to your license. And so if you want to find that information out, like I said, we can continue this for 2 weeks and give you a chance to do that.
I think that'll be a great option for me.
Okay. Why don't we just continue this to September 1st? That's 2 weeks from today. You'll get an email invitation to court like you did tonight. And so just, reach out to them, find out, and then that way you can maybe make a little more informed decision that night.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day, sir. Or ma'am, sorry.
You're good. Bye.
Your Honor, it looks like Rory Ukena is online with us.
All right. Rory Ukena, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. How do you pronounce your last name?
Ukena.
Ukena. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Allred?
Yeah, Mr. Ukena and I spoke, and he's got one charge of expired vehicle registration, and he got that reinstated quite quickly after, and so I indicated that I would recommend that the court reduce the fine by 50% on that.
I had actually just purchased the vehicle 3 days prior, but I didn't have proof of the sale in the car with me at the time. Well, I don't know if that changes anything Mr. Allred just said, but that's good.
Well, it may, right? If the car was registered, but you just didn't have it on you, it'd be up to Mr. Allred and the city to prove that it was not registered on the day if you had proof that it was.
Right. Well, I had just purchased it, so I had not registered it yet, but I thought I had a little bit of a grace period from the purchase day to the registration day, but I
don't know. I wish I had the kind of memory that once I read a statute, I had it memorized forever. I don't know. Honestly, that'd be something if we went to trial. that I'd have to look up as we went through the trial. I don't know. Do you know, Mr. Allred, is there a grace period there?
Not that I know of, and in fact, Mr. Ukenna and I spoke about that, and he was going to take a look himself. If he wanted to have some more time, we were fine with that. But at the moment, I don't know of a grace period under these circumstances.
Okay. I tried to look briefly, but I was getting in a rush to get my daughter, get her to her soccer game. So I'm good with just the reduced penalty that they're already stated.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not a moving violation, so it shouldn't put any points on your record or anything. So, with the understanding that the fine will be dropped from $50 to $25, how do you want to plead to the one count of failure to register or having expired vehicle registration?
No contest.
Very good. We'll accept a no contest plea, impose that $25 fine, and that just needs to be taken care of by September 18th. Do you want to pay it $25 or do you want to do 2.5 hours of community service?
Just 2.5 hours of community service?
All would be, yep.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm on a school board for a charter school, so I'm forever doing a public service spot.
Okay, and the charter a nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay, we just need a letter from someone at the charter school then. Someone who's in charge just says, you were there for 2.5 hours. Essentially what you did, get that to us, that would take care of it. We just need it by September 18th.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Your Honor, I see, just noticed that Mr. Batchison is on, and I had just put that together that I believe he's representing Mr. Valentine or Valentin.
We've got to wait for Luther, though. He needs an interpreter.
Okay. Do you want to speak and have some discussion with Luther before we come back on, Mr. Batchison, or do you want to talk to me in the chat or have a call?
I would like to talk to you.
Okay. I'm happy to give you a call. Looks like there's a number of pre-trials. If you want to, you can just put in the chat, give me the number to call you if you'd like, and I can mute out and give you a call.
Do you need I lost you for a minute. Do you need my phone number?
Yes,
Okay, it's I'll give you my cell. It's
Okay.
801-882-6189.
Okay. Your Honor, it looks like I don't see any more pre-trials on here at the moment. It looks like other matters. If it's all right with the court, I'll just check out for a moment and I'll call Mr. Batchison about his client.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right, for everybody else that's here, there are several people that are here for the very first time, and so let me just explain what happens when you come into court for the first time. I'll explain it once to everybody, but if I call your case, you do have any specific questions about your case or any specific questions about what I'm going to explain, please ask it. I really want to make sure everyone understands what's happening, so if you do have any questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer. So when I call your case, the first question I'm going to ask you, again, these are for people that are here for the first time, is did you get a chance to watch the Rights Advisement video? In the email that invited you into court today, in the bottom of the email it says if you're coming into court for the first time, you need to watch the following 5-minute video before your case will be addressed. There was one in English and one in Spanish. So that's what I'm talking about. If you have not watched it and I call your case, you're going to need to go watch it and come back and talk to me. So if you have not watched it, please do so now. That way when I call your case, we can go ahead and address it. So again, if you have not watched it, I'm going to send you to go watch it and come back and talk to me. So that'll be the first question. So you get a chance to watch the Rights Advised video. And do you have any questions about those rights? The second question I'm going to ask you has to do with one of those rights, and that's the right to be represented by an attorney. As you see here tonight, most people do not have an attorney represent them in justice court. That's pretty common, but you do have a right to. And if at any point you want to hire your own lawyer, or if at any point you want to seek to qualify for the court-appointed attorney, all you do is ask me. We'll stop and have that conversation. So again, starting without an attorney tonight doesn't mean you've waived. You can change your mind at any point and just let me know, and we'll pause and give you that chance. So question 1, did you get a chance to watch the Rights Advisement video? Any questions about your rights? Question 2, would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed today? Third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what the allegation or allegations are against you and what the recommended fine is in the state of Utah. Because of the presumption of innocence, when I tell you what that is, I'm not implying that anybody's guilty. Definitely not trying to get anybody to plead in any particular way. I'm simply informing you that here's what the city is alleging. So again, I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to, that I think they're guilty or anything like that. Again, it's just so you know what the city is alleging. So after I ask about your rights, ask about whether you want to be represented by an attorney, tell you what the allegation is, I'm going to ask how you want to plead. Because everyone has to enter into a plea, let me tell you what the 3 options are, and then we'll get going. So the 3 options are to plead not guilty, guilty, or no contest. Let's start with not guilty. people plead not guilty for a whole lot of reasons. The first, most obvious of those is, hey, I'm pleading not guilty either because I didn't do it or I'm innocent of the Constitution. Or either one of those, I simply want to take my case to trial. No problem. Pleading not guilty because you want to take your case to trial is a perfectly legitimate reason to plead not guilty. But people plead not guilty for a whole lot of reasons other than they simply want to take their case to trial. Some people plead not guilty because they want to see the evidence that's in the case, right? You have the right to see any piece of evidence the prosecutor has. Not guilty today would have you come back in about 4 weeks. Prosecutor would give you a call on the phone, the two could talk about your case, and if you wanted to see the evidence, you'd start arranging how to see what evidence the prosecutor has. Some people plead not guilty because they want to talk to the prosecutor about the case. Maybe there's information that you have that you think might make a difference. Maybe you want to see if you qualify for that traffic school or some other plea deal that's out there. Anyway, not guilty, plead denied for whatever reason. You don't have to tell me what the reason is, just plead not guilty. We had said you'd come back to that pre-trial conference. As you saw, pre-trial conferences are what we do first. Those are people that have come into court at least once or come back a second or subsequent time. Pre-trial conferences, visit with Mr. Allred, the prosecutor, and then get on with me and you and Mr. Allred, let me know what happened. Was the case dismissed? If so, great, you're done. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen sometimes. If you worked out some kind of plea deal, great, put that on the record. If you want to keep going towards trial, great, we start talking about trial day. So, not guilty plea, come back for the pre-trial, and then just let me know what the next steps are. The other options are to plead guilty or plead no contest. Guilty is just saying, yep, I did it, that's what happened. No contest is a little different. No contest is saying, look, I'm not going to plead guilty, but I'm going to let you convict me anyway. People ask all the time what's the difference in between a guilty and a no contest plea. Truth is, in justice court, there really isn't much of a difference, just two different roads, same destination. If you choose to plead guilty or if you choose to plead no contest, the next step in the case is sentencing. For most people, sentencing will include a fine. Some cases will have other things in addition to a fine, but they all typically will include a fine. If a fine is appropriate in the case, then the conversation they'll have with you is how to pay a fine. The fine can be paid all at once within 30 days. It can be broken up into smaller payments, $100 a month, $74 a month, something like that, or you can even take care of it through community service. So again, a guilty or no contest plea. The next step is sentencing. We'll do that tonight if you choose to plead guilty or no contest, unless you do want to come back in a week or two for sentencing. And then again, if the payment is appropriate, how do you want to take care of that? All right. I don't know what order people came into court. And so we're going to go ahead and just call you based on how I see you. Phone number 385 ending in 99. Who is that, please? 385 ending in 99. I don't see a full phone number. I just see partials. Are you there? 385 ending in 99.
That's me. Silva Perea.
Okay, Mr. Renteria.
Yes. That's me.
Okay. Case number 225-400-303. Mr. Renteria, it looks like when we talked to you in May, you're just going to start paying $1,000 a month beginning in June. Looks like you did make payment in July. Are you back on track for September 1st?
Pardon me?
Are you back on track to continue your payments on September 1st? You have $100 left to pay, and so it would be September 1st and October 1st. That way.
Yes, and I'm doing traffic school also.
Not through this court. There wasn't. You're not doing a plea in abeyance through South Weber. So South Weber, the only thing I have is payment.
Oh, okay. So traffic school for this court?
No, that's not what we have. We just have you pled guilty in May 19th.
Okay.
And like I said, you did make one payment of $75. There is $100 left. So do you just want to pay $50 on September 1st and $50 on October 1st?
Yeah, so how much? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So just September 1st and October 1st, once you pay those two payments, and your case will be closed, okay?
All right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right. Mr. Scott Rogers, you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
All right, Mr. Rogers, case number 225-400-657. Mr. Rogers, did you get a chance to either watch, well, did you get a chance to watch the Rights Advisor video?
Yes, I did.
Okay, any questions about your rights?
No.
Would you like to speak to that before you proceed this evening?
No, thank you.
Okay. Looks like there's one allegation. The state is alleging that on August 3rd of 2022 that you were speeding 108 in a 70. That was an infraction with a recommended fine of $825. Without admitting liability, do you understand what the city is alleging?
Yes.
Okay. I know I explained it earlier, but do you have any questions about the difference between not guilty, guilty, no contest, or any question at all for me before I take the plea this evening?
No. Well, can I a situation?
I mean, not to me at this point. The reason why is not that I don't care what you have to say, but because if it goes to trial, I need to be hearing the evidence for the first time. So prior to trial, I don't let the police, prosecution tell me anything about a case, and you know, because I don't want to be prejudiced in any way. It'd be unfair to you, right, if they were talking to me outside of your presence. So I also don't not let you tell me anything about the case prior to for the same reasons. Not because I don't care, because I'm trying to protect your rights. If it gets to trial, what you have to say will matter very much to me. But the first option you have is to plead not guilty, come back and talk to Mr. Allred and explain the situation. I mean, he's not a gotcha prosecutor. I mean, you know, he does represent the city, but he's not, you know, just looking to get convictions. So he's the first person you could talk to, and you could explain the situation to him and see if it makes a difference at that point. I'm have to talk to Mr. Allred if you work something out, or the case is dismissed, obviously you're done. Or if I talk to Mr. Allred, you want to go to trial. When he gets to trial, then at that point, what you have to say, I would listen to very carefully.
But would I be keeping? Would I get? Yeah. Would I get points and a fine if I say no contest?
Yeah, no contest is considered a conviction, and so there would be a fine through the city. And again, because of the speed, the pretty state of Utah has put a pretty high fine amount on that, and there would be points. The points that go through the driver's license division. How many points? I don't know. Would that affect your license? I don't know. Those are questions you have to ask them. And so, just there was a woman earlier that pled, or we just gave her a couple weeks to look that up and see if that would make a difference. Because you know, I don't know if you have any points or not, but you could plead not guilty today. Come back, talk to the prosecutor in between now and then, contact the driver's license division and see what it might do points-wise to your license.
All right.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So we'll enter the not guilty plea then. I'll put that pre-trial out. Let me grab my calendar real quick. It would be September 15th. And it will be at 4 o'clock. Mr. Allred is going to give you a call on the phone. What's the best number to get you on?
We aren't having court on the 15th.
Oh, okay. All right, so it would be October 6th then. Thank you, Lisa. So pre-trial would be October 6th. What's the best number the prosecutor can call you on when he calls you on October 6th?
801-564-8883.
Okay, very good. You'll get an email invitation from the court. Mr. Allred will call you on the phone. The two of you will simply talk about your case, and you'll get back with me, and the two of you will just let me know what the next step is. Was it dismissed? Try and work out some kind of resolution. You want to keep going towards trial? We'll just have that discussion then, okay?
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a good evening, sir.
You too.
All right. Is Mr. Lynn Smith, I believe, is next? Mr. Smith, can you hear me, sir?
Your Honor, that's Lisa's husband. He's just listening to court.
He's just listening. Oh, okay. I thought that was the DUI that we were so worried about. All right. We'll leave that alone for a minute. Okay. Good thing. We probably won't issue that warrant then, Mr. Smith. We'll leave that one for the next time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I see an Andre, but I don't see a last name. Andre? Andre, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can. What's your last name?
Oh, sorry. That's good.
All right, Mr. Vasquez, case number 205-400-700. Looks like we talked in May.
Yeah.
Doing 5 hours community service beginning in June.
Yes.
Got anything turned in on that?
Right, and I just found in my email inbox the letter that was sent to me for the community service hours that were issued through the PTA for Adams Elementary School, which is listed as a 501c3 organization. So I do have that from the president for that was finishing off that school year, just this last school year, and it was for 30 hours. I kind of helped do some deep cleanings and reorganization of closet.
Okay, and that would be enough to cover the fine amount for sure. Can you get that to us by the
Yeah, can I email it? Do I have to bring in?
No, you can email it, absolutely.
I can? Okay, because I'll email it right now. I can forward it right now. If you do something.
You want to send them to send that to?
What's that?
J.C. Burgess Court, South Leader.
Okay. Sorry, hold up just one sec. I'm just pulling up. Oh, no, not that. I'm just pulling up something to write on.
To the email address.
What's that?
They'll be sending you the minutes. You can return it to the email address given.
So we're going to email you a copy of the minutes.
Right.
That email address if you want to.
Okay, yeah, and I'll have that here. I start it so that I don't lose it again.
Okay. And 30 hours would be enough to just close your case.
Okay, great. And what else is moving forward? What does that do for my end?
Your case is closed. As far as we're concerned, your case is closed. There's nothing more that's due and owing to the city at all.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was any additional anything since it was past the date that I was supposed
there is some additional amount that was added, but the number of community service hours, 30 hours, would be covered.
Oh, okay. Would be sufficient for that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it would cover enough to cover both.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure once it's done, I can just be done.
Yeah.
and I'll be like, oh crap, there was like this $30 fee I didn't pay, and now it's ramped up again. So okay, awesome.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks. I'll look for that email.
Okay. Bye, sir.
Good.
Jessica Damien.
Here.
Good evening, ma'am. Case number 225-400-388. Okay. Let's see. Forfeiture. Lisa, what's going on in this case? I see Belford forfeiture, but I don't see there's ever a guilty plea or anything. It's just the first time we're meeting with her.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Damien, did you get a chance to watch that Rights Advisor video?
Yes, I did.
Any questions about this rights, ma'am?
No.
Would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed today?
No.
Okay. It looks like there are 2 allegations. The first allegation is no valid license that was expired. That is an infraction the city alleged occurred on April 28th of 2022, and as a recommended fine of $50 and failure to operate within a single lane is an infraction alleged to occur on April 28th of 2022 with a recommended fine of $130. Nope, I'm sorry, it says accident involved, and so that would leave a recommended fine of $160. Again, not applying you're guilty, that's just what the city is alleging. So without admitting any liability, do you understand what the city is alleging?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions about the difference between a not guilty plea, a guilty plea, a no contest plea, or any other questions from me before I do take your plea today?
No.
Okay. Then that first allegation of no valid license having been expired, how do you plead to that? No, not guilty, guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Okay, the court accepts the guilty plea to that. That second charge of failure to operate within a single lane, how would you like to plead?
That one, no contest.
Contest, okay. on. Total fine in this case is two of them combined $110. That can be paid all at once. Within 30 days, it can be broken up into some smaller monthly payments or if you community service voucher.
Small monthly payment.
Okay, how much do you want to pay on a monthly basis?
So right now my hours were dropped. I'm barely starting to even get 20 hours right now at work. So if we can just start with like 25, and then if I can do 50 that month, that would be great.
Okay, 50 is the minimum, or you can do community service. You can do that for community.
Okay. When would the first payment start?
We can have it start, end of next month. We can put, full month out, so you don't have to do it right away. Like, say, September 25th or something.
Okay, can we do that?
Sure. So for $50 a month, I'll begin. Does the 25th work for you?
25th? Yes.
Okay. So it'll start on September 25th. You'll make $50 payment every month on the 25th of every month until you get to $210. You can always pay extra. But if life happens, you find yourself unable to make one of those payments, don't ignore it. If you ignore it, then that's a violation of a court order. You can be found in contempt. Your fine can go up, warrants can issue, things like that. Where if you can't make a payment because life happens and you just reach out to me and let me know what's going on, I'm a pretty easy judge to work with. You just got to let me know so I can work with you, okay?
Okay, and if I can't do that monthly payment, do I just give the court a call?
Yeah, you have to call the courts and then come in and talk to me on my next open court date. As long as you call before the 25th of the month and get on my next open court date, there's not a violation.
Okay.
Yeah, so either make a payment by the 25th of every month, or if you cannot make a payment 1 month, call the court and get on my schedule.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, Jax Fulmer.
Yes, I'm here, Judge.
All right, Mr. Fulmer, let's put our case up real quick. Case number 215-400-789. It looks like by July 15th we needed proof you'd gotten an assessment started. Okay, looks like we just finally did get that on. It was just late. Okay, are you doing the treatment they're recommending?
Yeah, so I actually did the evaluation, and I've been calling every week about it to try and schedule the classes. But the counselor said that the instructor is gotten COVID for the 3rd time this year, and so she's not even there.
Okay. I mean, as long as you got the assessment done and you're working through it, it's fine. We just need proof that, when you got it done, that you did get it done. So obviously that's outside of your control if they're not holding it for a minute because she's got COVID again, so that's fine.
Okay. And basically the reason why I set the hearing was to give you kind of keep you in the loop, because with me not being able to get to work, my job, thankfully they've been pretty cooperative with me, so they laid me off, didn't fire me. But since I can't get to work consistently due to my driving privileges being suspended, I was seeing if maybe we could talk about the driver's hardship law, and maybe that can be considered.
Well, for me, once someone's paid half their fine, and they're complying in other ways, I don't mind giving a release letter for somebody to get their license back, and you've paid over half your fine, and you've gone and you've met with treatment. So I'm gonna put a note in the driver's license, a release letter. So if you want to contact the clerks tomorrow and arrange how to pick that up, we can get that letter for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, good question. Any other questions, sir?
No, not exactly. So how should I keep up on the classes? Because the counselor, he said, most judges usually want people with these certain situations, like certain cases, they want some type of treatment done, but he basically said that he wanted it to just get done and over with after my evaluation was done, and he just scheduled me to do these Time for Life classes, is what he said. It's like an 18-hour course or something like that, and so since I can't do that, how would I keep up on that just to kind of get the case closed?
Well, you can do Prime for Life, right? You just may not be able to do it for a minute until the instructor's back. That's fine. That's not your fault. The instructor won't be sick with COVID forever.
Right, okay.
So yeah, just keep in touch with them and pick it up when they start teaching them again.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, good questions. Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Judge Mehmet,
Yes, ma'am.
we do not have a hold on his license.
Okay, is it the driver's license division that will be holding it or some other court?
Possibly, it's not us.
Okay, so Mr. Bulmer, there's nothing that we're doing that in any way is restricting your license, which means there's nothing that we can do that's going to give it back. And I don't know if you have a hold from another court or if there's just a hold through the driver's license division, but that's their call, not the court's call. I don't order them to give it back. They're a separate entity under the law. They have their own statutes and regulations they follow. So, like I said, I don't know if you have any other courts. If so, they may be holding it, or if there is no other court holding it, then you're just going to have to work with the driver's license division. They'll be the ones that will determine when you get it back, not us.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, good question. All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Gary Miller.
Hi.
All right, good evening, sir. Case number 225-400-642. Mr. Miller, did you get a chance to watch that rights advisement video?
Yes, I did.
Okay, any questions about your rights, sir?
Pardon?
Do you have any questions about any of those rights?
No.
Okay, would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed today?
No.
Okay. So here's what the allegation is. Again, like everybody else, I'm not implying you're guilty, but the city is alleging that on July 22nd of 2022, that you did not follow or violate the duties of an operator by leaving the scene of an accident with knowledge of an accident. That is a Class B misdemeanor with a recommended fine of $720. Without admitting any liability, do you understand what the city is alleging?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So in just a minute, I'm going to ask how you want to plea. I've explained it a few different times, but do you have any questions about the difference between not guilty, guilty, no contest, or any questions at all for me before I take the plea this evening?
I didn't really realize I'd even hit him. I mean, his alarm was going off. I backed up. I didn't see any damage, so I pulled back up and waited for my pizza and left after that. But apparently the video showed the officers and they assumed that I was trying to get away from the car. But anyway, I'm going to plead guilty just because I did hit the car. I did start a claim, and
Okay, and certainly you can plead guilty. You can also, if there are circumstances you think might make a difference in what the prosecutor decides to do. You have every right to plead not guilty, explain what happened from your perspective, and see if it does make a difference. Your fines don't go up, come back another day. So certainly, if you want to plead guilty, I'm not trying to talk you into or out of that. Just want to make sure you understand that anytime someone gives me an explanation that they think, well, I didn't think I did it. Great, then talk to the prosecutor if you want to, and see if what happened will make a difference now he chooses to move forward with it. So again, I'm not trying to talk you into or out of anything, but you do have a right to talk to the prosecutor, explain what happened, and see if it does make a difference.
no, I want to get this behind me and not do anything like this again.
Okay. So then to that allegation of leaving the scene with knowledge of an accident, how would you like to plead?
Guilty.
Very good. The court accepts the guilty plea. That just leaves that fine of $720. I definitely don't see any reason to go any higher than that. That's already plenty high. So that can be paid all at once, broken up into small payments, or community service. What would you consider?
I will pay it.
Okay, just all at once. Okay, so we just say within 30 days. That'd be by September 18th. We'll send you a copy of the order. You can get it here in the next couple of days. They'll explain how to make that payment. You can just do it online. The information on how to do that will be there, or you can mail a payment in or bring a payment into South Weaver, or whatever works best for you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, sir.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm ready on mine now, Your Honor, if Mr. Allred's back.
All right. Mr. Allred, are you back for the Mr. Valentine case?
I am, yes. Looks like we have our interpreter as well.
All right, case number 225-400-504. So, Mr. Gaylor, are you talking to Mr. Cyrano or Mr. Valentine, Valentine?
No, Your Honor. I don't know if he's in Mr. Batchison's office or if he's connected separately.
He's in my office. If you want to call my cell number, I can hand him my cell. You can talk to him directly that way.
Okay. I can, if you want me to interpret simultaneously, I'd be happy to do that. Is this going to be a lengthy hearing, or are we just getting a new date?
He's gonna plead, and I'll be sentenced.
If that's the case, well, okay, give me a second. I wasn't, you caught me off guard, Judge. Give me 1 second to connect to Mr. Batchison, and I will mute my microphone and WebEx.
Okay. Why don't we just take another case real quick while we're waiting then? I know we have people that have been waiting for a while. And then while you're connecting, and then we'll just do the next case. Does that work for everybody? Okay. Mr. Malcolm Evans, are you there, Mr. Evans?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Case number 215-400-468. So it looks like when we talked in May, at that point you were going to start making payments on May 25th every month after that. Did you just miss a payment or two, or just a little bit late? It looks like you did make a payment today.
Correct.
Okay, so you're back on track then?
Yes, sir. I started a new job, and I'm not sure if I don't think I had started it. I think I was just beginning it when we spoke last. So that's why I was able to make this payment. I just missed that last payment.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're back on track with it.
Okay, so the next one would be due by September 25th.
Awesome. And I do have a question. I got a letter in the mail from the DMV, and my driver's license has been suspended. So I went in and paid the fine for it, but they need a release letter from the courts.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of judges won't send the release letter until the fine's paid in full. I do a little differently. Once someone's paid at least half, I'm fine to release it, because if you miss a payment, a warrant can be issued and just get it suspended again. So once you get to the halfway point, then that's the case. The total fine is $1,350. You've paid $340, so there's a few hundred more dollars before you get to that halfway point. Once you get to the halfway point, then we can do that release letter for you.
Okay, is there a way that you could send the release letter now and I could call in and pay the fine right now?
No one's going to be there. I mean, well, our clerks are in court, but if you want to call in tomorrow before noon and pay up to half, then they can do the release letter at that point.
Okay, perfect. As long as I get your okay with that, then that's awesome. We'll do that.
Okay, I'm going to put a note in.
So what would the amount be to get me to at least half? I may even do excess. I'll see what's in my bank account.
Let me tell you real quick on full calendar. So 1350 divided by 2 is 675. You paid 340, so 335 would get you at the halfway point.
335?
Yes, sir.
All right. Awesome. Consider it done.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks.
Judge, I am now connected by telephone with Mr. Valentin. I can mute my microphone and WebEx and just interpret for him by telephone.
Okay, and so simultaneous means if you need us to slow down and need me to stop, just get our attention. Okay, thanks so much, Mr. Gaylord. All right, Mr. Batchison, has there been a resolution in this case then?
There has been, Your Honor. I'm not sure if Mr. Batchison can hear us.
Sometimes the audio goes in and out. I'm having a weird thing with my connection.
Okay, but you can hear us now?
Looks like he could maybe hear me, but not you.
I did hear Chris.
But you can't hear me?
I do hear you most of the time. It's just sometimes I don't.
Okay, well, if you can slow down and repeat, just let me know. Obviously, we're going to back up. And
I'll touch my ear if for some reason it goes out again.
Okay. You have to say something to me, because when I'm on my laptop, if I'm looking at the screen with all the information, I actually am not looking at the tile, so I don't see anybody. So you just have to get my attention and let me know. Okay. Thank you. All right. Either Mr. Allred or Mr. Batchison, you want to let me know what the agreement was?
Why don't I go ahead? Seems like my mic is working a little better.
Okay, Mr. Allred.
Okay, I'll speak slowly so that Luther can follow along.
You underestimate my abilities, Mr. Allred. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We have agreed that the defendant is going to plead guilty to 1 count DUI. It is a first offense. And I have also agreed to move to amend the BAC to .15 from .17. It was a breath test. we do have some possible issues there, so we've agreed that 0.15 will be the amount. I will also move to dismiss the other charges.
Okay, so then that would leave, then the fine payment, either 2 days in jail or 40 hours of community service, get an assessment done. Any other recommendations for sentence?
No.
We typically got to do 12 months of court probation, no other drug or alcohol offenses, and then
The only others, I'm sorry.
and then an ignition interlock on any device as long as the case is open with this court.
The only other recommendation that's outside the specific DUI matrix requirements that you've indicated was where it's a first offense, there were no injuries. The recommendation is that there be no jail, just the other requirements. No jail imposed, or imposed but suspended. So
Right, yeah. And then I would normally do that 30 days suspend it all. I mean, that'd be the 2 days of the 48 hours, but obviously that'd be Mr. About determined. Okay, absolutely. I think we're on the same page. All right, Mr. Batchison, is that a correct recitation of your understanding as well?
It is, Your Honor. So just one quick, because like I said, it goes in and out. Will there be the imposition of the ignition interlock device on this case?
There will, yeah. I put ignition interlock, unless there's a real good reason not to for any vehicle they drive while the case is open with the court. Once it's closed here, obviously if the DLD requires it, that's fine, but I do for the time it's open with the court require it.
That is the agreement the parties have, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Valentine, is that your understanding as well, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And so, do you have any questions for your attorney or any questions from the court before we take your guilty plea this evening, sir?
No.
Okay. So then, Mr. Valentine, to that allegation of a DUI that is amended to a .015 alleged to have occurred on June 10th of 2022, with the understanding that counts 2, 3, and 4 will be dismissed with prejudice, how do you plead to that amended DUI charge?
Your Honor, just to clarify, can you repeat, the BAC is being amended to what?
To .15.
Okay, thank you. Bueno, entonces, con esta modificación de bajar la concentración de alcohol que usted tenía en su sangre o en su cuerpo a .15, ¿cómo se declara al cargo? Guilty?
Very good. The court accepts the guilty plea to the amended charge. Based on that, counts 2 through 4 dismissed with prejudice. The sentencing will be per the statute. There will be a fine of $1,420. That can be paid all at once, can be broken up into small monthly payments or taken care of through community service. To have that paid within a year, monthly payments would need to average $119 to have that done within a year. So concerning that fine amount, Mr. Valentine, do you want to pay that all at once? Do you want to break it up into small monthly payments or community service? What would you prefer?
He intends to make monthly payments. He thinks he will have this paid off sooner than the 12 months. He just doesn't have the full amount right now. So if Your Honor would order to break it up in 12 payments.
Okay, to $119 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then was there a time that would work best for your client to start that? Or day that works best?
He's indicated that he can make his first payment by the end of August.
Okay, so should we just do like the 25th of August and then the 25th of every month?
That will work.
Okay, so August 25th. And then the next one would be either 2 days in jail or 48 hours of community service. What would you prefer?
Sorry, I didn't excuse me, Your Honor?
Yeah. It was just the next step is the next part of it is either 2 days in jail or 48 hours of community service. If there was one that you'd prefer to do, one or the other.
Community service, please.
Okay. So why don't we do 5 hours of community service a month? Why don't we have that begin on September 25th? And then 25th, whatever, not that bad. At least turn in at least 5 hours. It could be through any nonprofit. And so we just need that at least 5 hours a month. Of course, we can do extra once the 48 hours is done. Then there's no more community service that we required. shall order screening and assessment. Is there a recommendation on where you think the client would want to do the assessment?
I can read
Yeah, you just want to let
you the different locations in Weber County with them. I don't have.
Okay, and I'm fine with that. I mean, you know what the requirements are. Any one of them that meets the requirements, I'm fine with. If you just want to let the court know, or just have your client let us know who we did it with. Let's just say that it needs to get the assessment done by the end of September, in the fall, whatever the recommended treatment is. Unless, of course, you feel like the recommended treatment is not appropriate, then certainly I'm happy to come back and we can have that discussion.
Sorry, the due date for the evaluation, Judge?
Just by the end of September. Not the classes don't have to be done by the end of September. The evaluation needs to be done by the end of September.
Pero señor Valentín, tiene que terminar con la evaluación a más tardar el fin de septiembre y después hay que empezar con las clases.
Understood.
Okay. There will not be any supervised probation. There will be 12 months of court probation. In terms of that, will be no drug or alcohol offenses. There will be an additional 30 days in jail. All of that will be suspended. And then there will be a ignition lock device on any vehicle driven. So once the case is before the interlock ignition requirement would just be whether the DLD requires it. It would not be a requirement of the court anymore. Is there anything that we missed from either party?
If he pays his fine off early, will the court entertain a motion to terminate the probation earlier?
Absolutely, yeah. In a first offense like this, if everything's done early, absolutely.
Okay.
Good question. All right. Anything else we need to put on the record?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you, Mr. Gaylord. Thank you, Mr. Batson. Thank you, Mr. Valentin. Have a good evening, sir.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Your Honor, I'm here to interpret for 3 other cases, but they are arraignments. I don't have any time pressure, so I'll just wait my turn.
Okay. Fantastic. I don't know if we have any of the arraignments. We do have Mr. Lagunas. We can go ahead and take that one if we want. The rights advisor sheet was sent to him in Spanish.
Bueno.
Have a chance to watch that.
Señor Lagunas, ¿nos escucha?
Sí.
El juez le mandó a usted un documento escrito en español, lo cual le explicó sus derechos. También usted debía de haber recibido un enlace para mirar un video donde un juez le explica sus derechos en español. ¿Leyó el documento o miró el video?
Sí, leí los videos y miré el documento, leí el documento.
Yes, Your Honor, I have reviewed my right sheet.
Do you have any questions about any of those rights, sir?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta en cuanto a sus derechos legales, señor Laguna? Disculpe. No.
Okay. Mr. Lagunas, one of the rights it talks about is the right to be represented by an attorney. Most people in justice court don't have an attorney represent them, but you do have a right to. Would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed this evening, sir?
Señor Laguna, usted siempre tiene el derecho de ser representado por un abogado defensor durante cada etapa de este proceso legal. La gran mayoría de las personas en estos casos en un tribunal municipal proceden sin tener abogado. Sin embargo, es su derecho. ¿Desea tener abogado o prefiere seguir adelante sin tener abogado?
Prefiero seguir adelante.
I prefer to go forward without.
Okay. If you change your mind at any point, just let me know and we'll pause and give you that chance.
Si usted cambia su manera de pensar, si llegamos a algún punto en que usted desea consultar con un abogado, solo hay que informar al juez y podemos poner en pausa el proceso legal.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me tell you what 2 allegations are. I'm not implying that you're guilty when I tell you these. I'm simply letting you know what the city is alleging. The city is alleging that on July 22nd of 2022, that you were speeding 74 to 65. That is an infraction with a recommended fine of $130. And that you had no valid license, having never obtained a license. That is an infraction with a recommended fine of $200.
Bueno, señor Lagunas, hay 2 acusaciones en su contra. Yo simplemente le estoy informando de cuáles son los cargos. no quiero sugerir que usted sea culpable, pero sí tengo obligación de informarle de los cargos. Entonces, le están acusando el día 22 de julio de este año, dentro de los límites de la ciudad de South Weaver, de haber cometido una infracción de las leyes de tránsito por exceso de velocidad, 74 millas por hora en una zona de 65. Y el otro cargo es otra infracción por haber manejado sin tener licencia de conducir.
Without admitting any liability, do you understand what the city is alleging, sir?
Sin decir inocente o culpable, ¿usted entiende cuáles son las acusaciones en su contra?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you how you want to plead. You have three options. You can plead not guilty for any reason, which would let you come back and talk to the prosecutor to either see if you qualify for some kind of a plea deal, see the evidence, or because you want to keep moving towards trial. Or if you want to plead guilty or no contest, the only remaining issue would be fine payment and whether you wanted to pay the fine all at once, break it up into smaller payments, or community service.
Bueno, enseguida yo voy a solicitar su declaración a estos dos cargos. La primera opción, usted puede declararse inocente al cargo, a los cargos. Si se declara inocente, el próximo paso será una conferencia de conciliación entre usted y el fiscal. Eso será una oportunidad para que usted explique al fiscal su versión de lo que pasó y tal vez negociar un trato, un acuerdo con él. De otra manera, usted puede declararse culpable o no disputar los cargos. Si se declara culpable o no contest, el juez mandará que pague multas y podemos llegar a un acuerdo con el juez sobre cuán pronto puede pagar las multas.
Before I take your plea this evening, sir, do you have any questions for me?
Antes de presentar su declaración, ¿tiene alguna pregunta para el juez?
No.
No.
Okay. Then to that first allegation of speeding 74 and a 65, how would you like to plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest?
Al primer cargo de exceso de velocidad, el 22 de julio, 74 millas por hora en una zona de 65, se declara inocente, culpable o no disputar los cargos.
Culpable.
Guilty.
Well, accept the guilty plea. To the second charge of no valid license, having never obtained a license, how do you plead?
El juez acepta su declaración de culpable. El otro cargo, manejar sin tener licencia el mismo día, ¿cómo se declara?
Culpable.
Guilty.
Court accept the guilty plea to full. That just leaves then a fine of $330 that can be paid all at once within 30 days, broken up into smaller monthly payments or community service. What would you prefer?
Muy bien, señor Lagunas. El juez acepta sus declaraciones de culpable. El juez manda que pague una multa de $330. ¿Puede usted pagar todo dentro de 30 días o necesita un plan de pagos mensuales o necesita trabajar horas de servicio comunitario en vez de pagar la multa con dinero?
¿Cuánto tengo para pagar los 30 días?
Bueno, como usted quiere. Sí, si puede pagar todo dentro de 30 días, el juez aceptaría eso o lo podemos dividir en pagos.
Está bien en pagos.
¿De cuánto? ¿Cuánto piensa pagar cada mes?
¿Cuánto es?
330 es el total.
Puedo pagar 150 y 150 y después al último 30.
Can I pay 150, then 150, and then the remaining 30?
Sure. What date do you want to have it start? Whatever day you pick, 1 month later will be the other 150, and then 1 month after that will be the 30 days. So what date do you want to start it on?
Muy bien, señor Laguna. ¿En qué fecha quiere hacer el primer pago de 150? La fecha en que haga el primer pago, un mes después, va a deber la otra cantidad y después un mes después el tercer pago.
En 15 días.
15 days from now.
Okay, like September 5th, does that work for you?
¿Qué tal si digamos 5 de septiembre? ¿Va a poder pagarlo a más tardar el 5 de septiembre?
Sí, está bien.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. We will send you a copy of the order, sir, that will have the information on how to make that payment. You can do it online. The instructions in the order will be there, or you can mail a payment in or bring a payment in, whatever works best for you.
Bueno, entonces $100 el 5 de septiembre, $100 el 5 de octubre y $30 el 5 de noviembre. Así es el plan. Y usted va a recibir información por correo electrónico sobre cómo puede hacer el pago. Lo puede hacer en persona, por correo postal o por medio del internet.
Okay, está bien.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Gracias, señor Laguna. Que tengan una buena tarde.
Igualmente. Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, I think there were two others, is either Mr. Daniel Robles or Victor Oliva Sierra. Are either one of you on with us?
Daniel José Robles está con nosotros. What was that?
Kevin Conversa, too.
What did you say, sir?
Kevin Conversa.
Okay, we weren't asking for you. What was the second name, Judge?
It was Daniel Robles or Victor Olivas Sierra.
Víctor Olivas Sierra. Víctor Manuel Olivas Sierra está con nosotros.
Sí, aquí estoy.
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Mr. Olivas Sierra, case number 225400117. How are you, sir?
Buenas tardes, señor Olivas. Aquí tenemos el caso de la ciudad de South Weaver contra Víctor Manuel Olivas Sierra, número del caso 225-400-177. ¿Cómo está?
Bien, gracias.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Olivas, did you get a chance to either watch the rights advisement video or read the rights advisement sheet before coming into court today?
Señor Olivas, usted debía de haber recibido un documento escrito en español, lo cual le explicó sus derechos legales, y también un enlace para mirar un video donde un juez le explica sus derechos en español. ¿Le miró el video o leyó el documento?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you have any questions about your rights, sir?
¿Alguna pregunta en cuanto a sus derechos legales, señor?
No, ninguna.
No questions.
Okay, would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed?
¿Desea platicar con un abogado? ¿Desea consultar con un abogado antes de seguir adelante?
No.
No.
Okay. So here are the two allegations. I'm not implying you're guilty, but the city is alleging that on March 10th of 2022 that you were speeding 74 and a 70. That is an infraction with a recommended fine of $130, and that you did fail to signal, an infraction with a recommended fine of $130, without admitting any liability. Do you understand what the city is alleging, sir?
Señor Olivas, hay dos acusaciones en su contra. Le están acusando el día 10 de marzo de este año de una infracción por exceso de velocidad, 74 millas por hora en una zona de 70. El otro cargo en su contra es no poner su direccional. Los dos cargos, cada uno de ellos lleva consigo una multa típica de $130. Sin decir culpable o inocente en este momento, ¿entiende usted las dos acusaciones?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the explanation that I gave to the gentleman before you about the different options you have, the difference between a guilty plea, not guilty plea, no contest plea?
Estaba prestando atención en el caso previo cuando el juez conversó con el otro señor y le explicó sus opciones de declararse inocente, culpable o no disputar los cargos.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, sir, then before I take your plea this evening?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para el juez antes de presentar su declaración?
Pues lo único era de que sí, esa vez que me paró.
Señor, no es el momento de explicar lo que pasó. El juez quiere saber si tiene alguna pregunta en cuanto a sus derechos.
Oh, no.
No questions about rights.
Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and take your plea to that first allegation, speeding 74 and a 70. How would you like to plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest?
Muy bien, señor Olivas, al primer cargo, exceso de velocidad, 74 en una zona de 70 desea declararse inocente para tener conferencia de conciliación con el fiscal o prefiere declararse culpable o no disputar los cargos.
Culpable.
Guilty.
All right, we'll accept the guilty plea. Is that second charge of failure to signal, how do you plead?
Muy bien, el juez acepta su declaración de culpable. Al otro cargo de no poner su direccional, ¿cómo se declara?
Culpable también.
Guilty.
Okay. Court accepts the guilty plea to both those. That just leaves the fine payment, 200, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I cut Mr. Olivas off because he began to go into the details of the case. I think he may want to explain the circumstances to you now.
Sure, yeah. If you want to explain what happened, I'm happy to listen.
Bueno, señor Olivas, ahora sí, si quiere explicar al juez las circunstancias o los detalles de lo que pasó, ahora sí es el momento apropiado.
Sí. No, lo único que quería no argumentar, pero sí explicar es de cuando me dio el ticket, porque era una señorita la que me paró, me dio el ticket y me explicó las razones y de hecho pues yo hice un arreglo de pago, pero no sabía yo que eran 2 tickets en uno. Por eso creo que nada más pagué $130.
So, Your Honor, I didn't want to argue the case. I just wanted to explain that when I received this ticket, I was cited by a young woman. Excuse me for just 1 minute. I need to clear my throat.
Of course.
I was cited by a young woman. After getting the ticket, I contacted the court to make payment arrangements. I did not realize that there were 2 charges. I have already paid $130 to the court. I just wanted you to be aware of that. ¿Algo más que quería explicar, señor Olivas?
Sí, pues es todo, nada más. Pues yo pensé que ya había pagado ya se había pagado el ticket y hace poquito recibí yo la nota de que tenía un ticket y que me habían suspendido la licencia.
Only that, Judge. I thought that I had taken care of this ticket some time ago. Later, I received a letter in the mail saying that I had that my driver's license had been suspended because I hadn't resolved this citation.
Okay. Yeah, if it was because of a warrant, that's recalled because you're here, and so let's just make sure that we know what the thing is. If I already paid $130, that would obviously apply. Lisa, I don't see anything on my side. Has he paid half of this? Has he paid $130?
Bueno, vamos a verificar con la secretaria. Es posible que si el juez mandó orden de arresto en su contra, sería por esa razón que le habrán suspendido su licencia de conducir. Pero el juez está verificando con la secretaria de la corte para ver si ya recibieron algún pago de usted o no.
Porque me dijeron que debía como 400 y algo ahora de los tickets.
Because I was told that I owed $400 something now on the ticket.
No, it's just 260 is what the court's ordering. So Lisa, has he paid anything? Okay, so we don't have any payments made to the court, but it's $260. Then maybe he made a payment to another court. It's $260 for this court, and then you can pay it all at once, break it up to small payments for community service.
Bueno, señor Olivas, tal vez usted se confundió, tal vez pagó los $130 a otra corte por otro ticket. En este caso, en esta corte no ha hecho ningún pago hasta ahora. Entonces el juez está mandando que pague $130 más $130. El total que debe es $260. ¿Qué propone usted? ¿Cuán pronto lo puede pagar? O si usted necesita pagos mensuales de cuánto?
Pues si pudiera darme pagos mensuales de $50.
Would the court permit monthly payments of $50?
Absolutely. What day works best for you every month?
Sí, señor Olivas. Pagos de $50 al mes. ¿En qué fecha del mes quiere hacer los pagos?
Pues ahorita apenas regresé a mi trabajo porque estuve un poco enfermo. Estuve 1 semana y media fuera. No sé si pudieran darme chance de empezar el próximo mes.
I was off work because I was sick for some time, so I'm low on funds at the moment, Judge. Could you give me until next month to make the first payment?
Absolutely. Do you want to do like September 15th, September 20th, September 25th? I'm fine with that.
15 de septiembre, 20 de septiembre, 25 de septiembre. ¿Cuándo quiere hacer el primer pago de 50?
¿Pudiera ser para el 25 de septiembre?
25th of September, please.
Okay. So the 25th of September and the 25th of every month until you pay the $260. We'll send you a copy of the order. We'll have the information on how to make that payment. You can do it online, or you can bring in a payment, or even mail in a payment. I do see a warrant was issued. The warrant has been recalled, so you should be able to contact the Driver's License Division and get your license back tomorrow.
Bueno, señor Olivas, el juez sí acepta que pague $50 al mes, el 25 de septiembre, 25 de octubre, 25 de noviembre, etc. El total que tiene que pagar es 260. Parece que sí se mandó orden de arresto en este caso, pero el juez le ha quitado la orden de arresto. El día de mañana puede ponerse en contacto con el departamento de licencias para ver qué tiene que hacer para renovar o reinstituir su licencia. Your judge, will Mr. Olivas need a clearance letter from the court?
No, I think it's just a warrant, so that's all I see.
Bueno, ¿alguna pregunta, señor?
Una pregunta, hace 2 semanas, me pararon ahí en la ciudad de Wheeler y me dijeron que fueron ellos los que me dijeron que tenía la licencia suspendida. ¿No habrá problema por eso para poder yo sacar mi licencia para ir a preguntar mañana lo de mi licencia?
¿Le dieron ticket en Wheeler?
Sí, me dieron un citatorio para el día de ayer, pero el juez lo pospuso para septiembre.
Bueno, señor, I'm sorry, Judge. 2 weeks ago, I was stopped in Willard, and that's how I learned that my license was suspended and that I had a warrant out for my arrest. So, having taken care of these matters in your court now, will I still be able to go to Driver's License Division and reinstate my driver's license?
As far as South Weaver is concerned, yes. If another court's put a hold on your license, I can't do anything about that. But it looks like it's already been cleared, so you should be able to go tomorrow, yes.
Bueno, en cuanto a esta corte en South Weaver, este juez sí había mandado orden de arresto en su contra. Ahora usted ya arregló con el juez y ya no hay orden de arresto. Según la información que el juez ve en la computadora, usted sí puede ir mañana al departamento de licencias para reinstituir a su licencia. Pero todavía tiene que hacer su comparecencia con el juez en Willard.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Gracias, señor. Que tenga una buena tarde.
Gracias igualmente.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, let's try one more time. Daniel Robles. Mr. Robles, is there?
Señor Robles, Daniel José Robles.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gaylord.
Thanks, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, everybody else, I know there are several other people that called. We'll just take you as I see you on the screen. I have no way of knowing who's coming in first, second, or third, so I promise we'll just get through everything as quickly as they can. I see someone calling in, phone number area code 801 ending in 82. 801 ending in 82. Who's that, please?
That's me.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
My name's Trey Golovic.
All right, Mr. Laza, case number 211-400-001. When we talked in July, you're going to meet with PSC GMS or Revision Services by the end of July. So were you able to meet with one of them? We didn't see anything come in.
I wasn't able to because I've been really busy at work. We actually had one of my coworkers quit, so I've been working a little bit extra, so I really haven't had too much time to take off. But hopefully by next week I should be able to have Thursday off so I can go to the place in Clearfield and talk to them.
Okay, well, I'm going to make it really easy for you. You got to get it done or you're going to spend a weekend in jail, because we've been having this conversation for a year, and you haven't made time in a year to go and talk to them, and I've been really patient with you, but you're out of chances. So you need to meet with them by the end of September, or you'll spend a weekend in jail. Okay.
Okay, I will.
Okay. So you got to make time. I'm giving you still an additional month and a half to get it done. So you need to meet with them by the end.
Definitely, I'll get with them by Thursday of next week.
All right. Just make sure by the end of September you do it again, or you'll spend a weekend in jail, and we'll have the conversation again. Okay.
Okay, definitely.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Coulter Thomas.
Yes, you are.
All right. Let me pull your case up real quick, Mr. Thomas. Case number 225-400-344.
Yes.
All right. So it looks like Lisa, was there a plea and abeyance that was done in this case, just through you, the clerks?
Yes.
Okay. And so Lisa, you want to know what's going on in this case? Or do you have a question, Mr. Thomas?
No, I didn't pay the fee originally because I did the traffic school, and I didn't think I had to. And so then when I did find that out, I did pay it. It was late, and then I was already scheduled for this, so I don't know what else I need to do.
Okay, so you've done the traffic school, you've got the actual tax portion done. Okay. Well, you're still within the 6-month window for when you need to have it paid, so that's fine. So you just need to now at this point, there's just the remaining 6 months, no moving violations, and it would still be dismissed. So you got to pay this in 6 months, so that's okay.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, Gabe Hamilton.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm right here.
All right, case number 225-400-325. All right, looks like when we talked in June, you're going to start making payments beginning in July. I didn't see that happen July 1st or August 1st, so want to let me know where we're at?
Okay. So I got the disability approved. I'm just waiting for the what do you call it? Extra amounts, or they're assessing it a fund. And so I've been doing community service. I just don't know where to turn those into or how to turn that letter into you guys. How do I? And I think we said I could do community service.
Yeah, it was you could do community service on top of a payment. So you were going to be making a payment every month, and you were going to do community service on top of it. We can't switch it to only community service, but that was not what was the order of the court was. You're going to make a payment of $6, and you can do community service on top of it. So
okay.
Switch it to just community service.
Yeah, if we could do that, that'd be great. Like they approved it, and I was able to put it towards rent, so I got into a place. So that's what all the rent went, or that's what all the money went towards for last month for July. So I was wondering if there's a way we could do community service, and I have a letter because I've been doing community service.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you were found in contempt. You didn't follow the court order, so it would be 25.5 hours of community service. $255 looks like is the fine amount. But you can do it through community service. And so, how many hours have you done so far? You'll need to turn that in. But how many hours have you done?
Yeah, I've done 18 so far. So I can just double check with the organization and get back to you this week if that works.
Yep. Who did you do it with?
His name's Levi Harris. He has this 503(1) for Thunder Feathers. He works with kids with autism.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we need something from him letting us know the dates and times you were there. But you can turn in the community service, and then by the end of September, could you get the other? Would that be 7.5 hours done by the end of September?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Do I just email it to the court or mail it in a letter, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can email it in. We'll send you a copy of the order. You'll get that in the next day or two. You want to just respond to that email with what you've done so far, and then just whatever the remaining hours that gets you to 25.5, just get that done by the end of September, and then that'll close your case out, okay?
And then that dismisses the case and everything?
Yeah, we wouldn't dismiss it, it would close it, right?
Close it, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure that's what you meant. It's just...
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect. Yep, it would.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Phone number 801 ending in 68. 801 ending in 68. Who is that, please? I'm sorry, I did not understand that. What's your name, sir?
My name's Kevin Conversa. No, it wasn't I'm using my neighbor's phone because I don't have a phone, so I don't know her number.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I got you, Mr. Converso. Case number 195400523. Looks like a warrant was issued because you're here. We will recall the warrant. Looks like it's the first time we're talking to you from a case back in 2019. So, Mr. Converso, did you get a chance to watch the Rights Advisor video that was sent to you?
No, I have no video on here.
Okay. Well, I can go through your rights, but it takes 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to hold off. I'm sorry, you said, what did you say?
I heard everything you said, yes.
But I haven't gone through rights with anybody, so I can do it with you, but I'm going to talk to other people that don't need me to do that, so I don't hold them up too much longer. So just hang tight. We're almost done with the calendar, so I'll be able to get back to you in just a minute, okay?
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Isaac Sidaway. Isaac Sidaway. Isaac Sidaway, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Sidaway, it looks like when we talked in June, you're going to start making your payments beginning June 25th. Did not see that happen. So June 25th and July 25th have both been missed. So you want to let me know what's going on, or do you just need to get back on track? Excuse me.
Yeah, I just need to get back on track.
Okay, so can you make the payment by August 25th?
Yes.
Okay. In the future, as I've explained before, cannot make a payment, you need to talk to me on it before the 25th, unless you contact the court. As long as you're making a payment or contacting the court, there's no contest issues. But if you don't make a payment, you ignore it. You can try and make your fine go up. And so your fine now is at $465. You paid $130 of it, so there's obviously less. So $335 is what you owe. But again, let us know if you can't make a payment. Let us work with you so that way your fine doesn't go up; it just goes down. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, sir. Have a good day. All right, Susan Pace.
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
All right. For your case up, case number 215-400-084. All right. Did you get a chance to watch that Rights Advisor video, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
Any questions about your rights?
No.
Would you like to speak to your own attorney before you proceed today, ma'am?
No.
Okay. So the allegation, again, now that you're guilty, is that on February 21st of 2021 that you were speeding 79 and a 70. That is an infraction with a recommended fine of $130. Because so much time has passed, there is a delinquent balance on that would add another $50 to it. So the total balance, if you were convicted, would be $180. Without admitting any liability, you understand what the city is alleging?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you've been on for a minute, you've heard me explain, but I'm happy to explain. Do you need me to explain the difference between the not guilty, guilty, no contest? If you have any questions at all for me before I take the plea today, ma'am?
No, I don't, and I want to apologize for waiting so long. I've had different phones. I got evicted from my apartment.
And I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and I've been out of the hospital, so I apologize that it's taken me so long.
Well, you're here now, and so that's okay. So we'll just take care of it moving forward.
Okay.
I appreciate you letting me know. So to that allegation, then, do you want to plead not guilty, which is to come back to the prosecutor to see about traffic and those kind of things, or if you just pled guilty or just pled no contest, it would just be that fine amount?
Guilty.
Okay, court accepted guilty plea. That just leaves that fine of $180 that, like everybody else, can be paid all at once, broken up into small monthly payments or community service. What would you prefer?
Broken up, please.
Okay, how much do you want to pay on a monthly basis?
$50.
Okay, and then what date every month works best for you?
The 25th, please.
Okay, do you want that to be August or September?
September, please.
All right, so I would start on September the 5th. 5th of every month after that, as you heard me explain to the gentleman before you, Mr. Sidaway. If you cannot make a payment by the 25th of the month, please reach out to the clerks of the court. Let them know that. Let them know you just need to talk to me. As long as you either are making a payment or you're communicating with me, you're still in compliance. But if you don't make a payment, you ignore it, then you can file in contempt of court. That can make your fine go up. So again, if there's any issues, please just reach out and let me know.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, have a good day, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. All right. I think we just have one more individual before the trial. Are you still there, sir?
Hello?
Yeah. Phone number ending in 6 or 86. Who's that again?
before, 0086.
Yeah, what's your name?
Craig Rammel. I can't get my phone and my iPad to come for the 6 o'clock. I was just trying to, I thought I had to sign in by 5:30.
Yeah, it's okay. You have until 6 o'clock. Yeah, we have a trial that we're doing at 6:30 or at 5:30, so you are a little early. That's fine. So again, you can just hang tight and come back. So we haven't started the trial yet.
Stay on the phone. I can't find the link that'll put me on so I can see yet. So what do I? It came on and then it flipped off and went back on again.
Did you get the email?
Well, I got it, and then it flipped on and off again, and then it just disappeared right off of the screen. I don't know if I hit something wrong or what. So that's why I called the number, thinking I better at least join in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when people get into the meeting, they push something else and it puts the window, like hides the window, and so it's actually open even though I can't see it. So you might need to like shut down the iPad and try to log back in. But you have a few minutes. We still need to do the trial first.
Should I call back in a half an hour like I did just now?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to start at 6. I'm not sure how long the trial will take, but yeah. So you are early now. If you want to just come back around 6, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to mess it up.
Nope, that's okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, and then the other one ending in 6-8. Remind me your name again, sir?
Kevin Converso.
All right, Mr. Converso, let's go through your rights real quick. First, most important right you have is the presumption of innocence, which under the Constitution of the United States says that you don't have to prove your innocence. You are innocent of these allegations. The only way that presumption of innocence is overcome is if you admit it, that they're true by pleading guilty or no contest, or if the prosecutor is able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it occurred, and he'd have to try to do that at a trial another day. If it does go to trial because the prosecutor has the burden, he has to bring in the evidence. That can be pictures, videos, witnesses, testimony, police officer, whatever it happens to be. You have a right to see any evidence the prosecutor has prior to trial. You have a right to ask relevant follow-up questions to any witnesses the prosecutor brings to trial. Although you have no obligation to prove your innocence, if you want to bring in any relevant information or evidence, you can as well. Just like you get to see the prosecutor's evidence and cross-examine his witnesses, he gets to do the same with your witnesses. You'd also have a decision at trial whether you wanted to testify on your own behalf or exercise your right to remain silent. If you choose to remain silent, there's no negative repercussions or anything that happen from that. You have every right to, you don't have to prove your innocence. But if you choose to testify, you can. You can explain what happened from your perspective. But by testifying, you become a witness, meaning the prosecutor, if he chooses to, can ask you relevant follow-up questions just like anybody can of any of the witnesses. You have a right to a speedy trial. Speedy trials on Amazon Fast doesn't happen in 2 days. It just means that every time we talk to you, we're going to keep moving your case forward until it is resolved. It can be resolved by being dismissed. It doesn't happen a lot, but if the prosecutor dismisses your case at any point, you're done. Or at some point, you could enter into a guilty or a no contest plea, either because you're simply choosing to do so, or maybe you've met with the prosecutor and you're pleading guilty or no contest as part of a plea deal, or obviously you go to trial. And at trial, you either maintain your presumption of innocence unless the prosecutor can prove beyond a reasonable doubt otherwise. You have a right to be represented by an attorney. That's a right you carry with you, so at any point you think you want to talk to your own lawyer, to just pause or let me know when to pause and get that opportunity, okay?
Okay.
Any questions about any of these rights so far, sir?
No, I understand them all.
Okay. Let me tell you what these two allegations are. I'm not implying that you're guilty when I say what these are. I'm simply informing you of what the city is alleging. So the city is alleging that on August 29th of 2019 that there's no valid license, having never obtained a license. That's an infraction with a recommended fine of $200, and that you were operating a vehicle without insurance. That's an infraction with a recommended fine of $400. Operating a vehicle without insurance is also what the state of Utah calls an enhanceable offense. What that means is if it happens more than once in 3 years, the fine goes way up to $1,000. So I'm not implying you're guilty, but you have to understand that if you were to be found guilty, or if you were to plead guilty or no contest and it happened a second time within 3 years, the fine goes way up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, it was my license. I didn't have a license in Utah here. I'm not from Utah originally. I was driving somebody else's car, and there was insurance on that car, but it wasn't in my name.
Okay. And I don't have the specifics of the case, but if you think that hey, the car did have insurance, one of the things you can do is plead not guilty today. We'd have you come back in about a month. You get a chance to just get any information about that insurance, bringing it to the prosecutor. If there was insurance that day, then that could just be dismissed. But the charges don't belong to me as the judge; they belong to the city. And so that would be a conversation with the prosecutor. If you believe, hey, no, I think it actually was insured,
great. You can plead not guilty and start talking to the prosecutor about that. If there was insurance, then that charge could go away. But that would be a conversation between you and the prosecutor at this point.
Okay. You know, I want to get this over with because I'm on oxygen now. COVID really hit me bad. I was in the hospital twice. And I'm on oxygen now, and I have a foot around my heart, so I don't go nowhere or do nothing.
Okay.
I'm on the doctor's care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to plead guilty, it would just be the fine payment, which you can do through community service or pay some small monthly amount if you wanted to, if you didn't want to pay it all at once. But it would just be a fine payment.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to plead guilty to both the charges then?
Yes.
Okay. Court would plead guilty to both. So considering that $600 fine, do you want to make monthly payments? Do you want to do community service, or do you want to pay it all at once?
I can't pay them. I can't hardly pay it at all.
Okay.
I don't get out. I like to do community service, but I don't get out that much because it's been hot and I'm on oxygen. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't have a whole lot of money.
We can have that start way out. Like we can say, hey, can you just do a few hours of community service a month, and you don't have to get just by the end of September get the first few hours in. That'll give you plenty of time.
I can do that. I might be able to do that real close to where I live.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably flexible. You can find a place. Food banks, homeless shelters, anything through public school. Anyway, there's a ton that are out there. So could you do 5 hours of community service a month if you had to start like September 25th and then the 25th of every month?
Of course.
Okay.
Definitely.
So let's do that. Let's then do beginning of September 25th. Again, you can do it through. It doesn't have to be the same one every month. You can decide what interests you, but yeah, there's a lot of nonprofit options that'll be there that won't require you to do any physical labor. I had one person who went and just helped read books to kids in first grade class. It can be as simple as that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The warrant was recalled. Okay.
Yes. And so what do I do? Just wait for your letter or something?
Yeah, we'll send you a copy of the order that will have the information talked about today, and then when you get the community service done, we just need a letter by September 25th letting us know, who you did the community service with, just a letter from them letting us know who you did it with, and just a brief summary of what you did and the hours you spent doing. So it can be more than five. Once you get to 60 hours, you're done.
Okay, and one more thing. I was at the shelter, the men's resource shelter, and I got an apartment, and they never transferred the mail here, and my stimulus check went to the shelter, and they sent it back. That's why I didn't get no mail. I didn't get nothing. They got bundles of mail over there. Trust me.
Okay. Well, do we have your updated address now?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird because they're the ones that got me the apartment where I live at now, and they sent my stimulus check back.
Okay.
I mean, they knew where I lived.
Yeah, can we get your address? Can you mind giving it to us so we can know where to send it?
Yeah.
Okay, you mind giving it to us? We're ready.
274 West, 200 South, Salt Lake City, 84101, apartment 71.
Okay, did you get that?
I just got a letter from you. Yeah, I just got a letter from you guys.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Hey, thank you.
Yep, have a good one, sir.
All right, bye.
All right. Mr. Allred, Miss Roche, I think everyone is here. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do we have the trooper?
Looks like Sergeant Wilson's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Roche, we talked about last time, as you heard me probably explain this a minute ago, you are innocent of this allegation. You maintain that presumption of innocence unless Mr. Allred is able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the allegation occurred. It looks like his evidence will be, I would expect, testimony from a police officer. I don't know if there's any other evidence. Because Mr. Allred has the burden, he goes first. So I would expect that he'd call the witness. He'll ask some questions of the witness. Typically, when Mr. Allred is done asking questions of his witnesses, you'll have a chance to ask follow-up. They're called cross-examination questions, but really you're able to ask any follow-up questions you want. They just need to be relevant. So anything, officers training, anything that night's relevant, what the officer had for dinner, what the officer's political party is, right? Those are not relevant. But anything relevant to what happened that night or the officer's training or experience, things like that, those are all going to be relevant for sure. Once the prosecutor's done presenting all of his evidence, he'll say that he rests. That's just the courtroom non-English way of saying he's done presenting his case at this point. At that point, when he rests, you'll have a decision to make, and that's whether you'd like to testify on your own behalf or whether you want to exercise your right to remain silent. If you want to testify, great. I'll swear you in, just like you'll see me swear in the officer. You can explain what happened. When you're done explaining what happened, Mr. Allred, if he chooses to, will be able to ask you any questions, or you can exercise your right to remain silent. If you choose to remain silent, there's no negative repercussions, there's no negative inferences that are drawn if you choose to remain silent. Again, you don't have to prove your innocence, but you don't have to make that decision until that point. When both parties are done presenting their evidence, they have an opportunity to do make what are called closing arguments, and that's just where the sides can explain can tell me why they think I should or should not rule in a particular way. And then once both parties have done that, typically we'll make a ruling. And again, unless the prosecutor can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, you maintain that presumption of innocence. So before we get going, do you have any questions at all, sir?
Just Lisa Smith is the court clerk?
Yes, sir.
So when she contacted me by email, she was acting as your clerk?
She's the clerk of the court, yes.
Okay. So when she turned down saying that the evidence I requested wasn't something I was allowed to, it was a ruling coming from you, essentially?
I have a lot of cases, so I'm not sure. Do you want to tell me what it was you were asking?
Yeah, well,
I asked for the records from the officers, his record, his reviews, the policy of the Highway Patrol, any emails that they had circulated about enforcement on commercial vehicles in the area, things like that, all very relevant to the case at hand, actually.
okay, was there a written discovery request that I supposedly have?
You told me to send the email to Lisa Smith, and I did. And then she responded back that I wasn't.
We discussed it, and you told me what was relevant to send to him and what was not.
I see. So the things he's described, Your Honor, I would say are not discoverable under Rule 16 in connection with this case, would be my answer to that.
Okay, and why would it not be relevant?
Well, the only charge is that he had a failure to secure a load, creating a hazard. Under the statute, the only thing is required is that he must have that load covered unless the top of the load doesn't extend above the sides of the cargo compartment and the outer edges of the load are at least 6 inches below the top inside edges of the exterior walls of the sideboards of the cargo compartment. So the things he's requesting aren't in connection with this case. They're general things that he's concerned about, but they don't bear on this case. There are not any records that were generated in connection with this case, nothing that this officer generated. Things he could grandma if he wanted, but they're not discoverable.
Okay, so Mr. Carey, remind me again, Mr. Carey, what it was you requested? You requested any enforcement memos, any on commercial vehicles? Will you remind me what the other things were?
His employment records, training, policies of the Highway Patrol, his ability to achieve his performance objective, etc.
Okay, so Mr. Allred, just your request for the officer's training record, I think that would be relevant.
His training record?
I mean, what training he's obtained. I mean, I guess we can go into it, and those good questions we can ask during cross-examination, but certainly an officer's training would be relevant.
Okay, I would say it would need to be more specific then. I don't know that there exists something called a training record.
Okay. So, Mr. How do you pronounce the last name again? Is it Roche?
Roche is fine.
Roche, okay. You can, a general enforcement policy that, you know, a highway patrol may or may not have would not be relevant to what happened. Certainly the officer's training may very well be relevant. I'm not aware, I don't know that I've ever seen specific training records. Certainly you can ask any of those questions to the officer this evening. And if you want to ask some of the other questions that you asked for, you know, some of that other information, you know, feel free to ask it. If Mr. Allard objects, we can rule on those as they come. But there's two types of relevance, and Mr. Allard hit on a little bit. One is citizens have a right to access all kinds of information through called a grandma request. That's just an acronym. And so there's a law that allows people to get certain records. Whether something's relevant to a trial is a different standard, because really what's relevant to trials is what happened, you know, that evening or things that surrounded that event. And so, you know, general policy questions wouldn't, I'm not sure how I see that would be relevant. Certainly the training the officers had are questions you can get into in cross-examination.
Okay, so she was acting on your behalf when she sent
it sounds like she was acting on it. No, it sounds like she and the prosecutor had a discussion, and the prosecutor did not feel that some of it was relevant. I don't mean to speak for you, Mr. Allred, but it was exactly a conversation between, that would have been for Mr. Allred, the prosecutor, and that's who the discovery comes through.
Okay. Seems to me like the sort of thing that should have been discussed with the court instead of just with a court clerk and the city attorney. That is dangerously sounding to somebody that isn't a lawyer like an ex parte communication.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
communication that would be with me as the judge. So if I was having conversations with Mr. Allred behind your back, or if I was having conversations with you behind Mr. Allred's back, that would be ex parte. So as a judge, I cannot have any of those coming. And that's a really good point, right? It would absolutely look wrong and be wrong if Mr. Allred was calling me on the phone saying, hey, let me tell you about this case tonight. Or if I was calling Mr. Allred and saying, hey, let's talk about this before Mr. Roche gets here, right? That would absolutely have been appropriate. And that did not occur. I don't know anything about your case except for what I see in front of me, and that's just what the allegation is. And so I've actually heard more about your case in the last couple minutes than we have since, you know, I've heard nothing about your case since the last time we talked.
And Mr. Roche had every right to make a motion to compel if he chose to do that. He never did.
And where that gets into, Mr. Roche, is that, you know, the rules of evidence, even though these aren't very serious allegations, rules of evidence still do apply. I mean, this is an infraction, it's the lowest level, but the rules of evidence still do apply. And so it's, you know, they're, for good and for bad, we're all bound by those rules in the court and bound by what the law says. And so where we're at today is, I don't see that there's been any violation of the rules of evidence or anything as far as the request goes. But certainly you can ask a lot of the questions that you've raised, I think, could be relevant questions. And so if you want to ask those to the officer after Mr. Allred is done asking the officer questions, you can certainly do that.
Okay. I am curious why I'm not allowed to have a jury trial. There's nothing in the Bill of Rights that says jury trial if the state of Utah, South We Record, Davis County, whatever, so decides.
That's a good question. Anyone's able to get a jury trial under the law and under the Constitution of Utah if there's any possibility of jail time. This is an infraction. There's no possibility of jail time. There are no jury trials in Utah for infractions. If it was a Class C misdemeanor, then you would have a right to a jury trial. But as an infraction, there is no jury trial for infractions. It never has been in Utah.
You have just threatened several people with jail time for not jumping through hoops that are related to this. So there is still a threat of jail time.
No, sir, I didn't threaten. What I did is one individual who has a very, very long case history, and you wouldn't know this, but I've talked to him 24 times in the last couple of years and still hasn't gotten it done. And last time I talked to him, I told him, hey, if you don't comply, I'm going to start having to hold you accountable. That's because he failed to comply with a court order. It had nothing to do with what the original charge was. It was a contempt of court issue, and that is there can be jail time for contempt issues after someone is found guilty, but it's not for the original charge, whether or not they comply with the court order. Truth is, I very rarely send anyone to jail. I don't like to do it. It's got to be a pretty serious violation, but in that case, it was one that lasted a very, very long time. But I don't think I threaten people with jail. It's a pretty rare occasion that I even bring that up unless it's a DUI and it's required in the statute.
Yeah, the dots still connect all the way through. So,
well, certainly you're entitled to your opinion. Certainly you're entitled to your opinion, and that's okay. If you see it that way, I'm certainly not going to try to tell you that's not how you see it. Okay, well, at this point then, let's go ahead and get going. Mr. Allred, do you have any witnesses or any evidence you'd like to present?
We'll just proceed with evidence. The city calls Trooper Wilson.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the information you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much, Sergeant Wilson. Mr. Allred?
Trooper Wilson, were you on duty on March 25th of this year?
Yes.
On that date, did you issue a citation for commercial vehicle failure to secure load?
Yes, I did.
You recall where that occurred?
Yes, it was on the southbound on-ramp to 89 from South Weber Drive.
All right, that's in the city of South Weber?
Yes.
All right, what were you doing at that location at that time?
I was actually sitting on the ramp, waiting for commercial vehicles that were passing through the area with unsecured loads. We'd had several complaints, as well as Davis County had, one of the sergeants at Davis County had reached out, mentioned that they had some complaints of commercial vehicles not covering their loads in that area. And so I went down and was sitting on the on-ramp, specifically looking for commercial vehicles that did not have their loads covered.
All right, is there some particular danger associated with commercial vehicles not having their loads covered?
Yeah, I mean, it caused a lot of damage to other vehicles, as well as, depending on the load, can be hazardous to the other drivers of the road as well.
Okay, the vehicle that you observed, that you indicated that you issued the citation for on the 25th of March, what caused you to identify that vehicle? What caught your attention about that vehicle?
So actually, Sergeant Boucher of the Davis County Sheriff's Office was sitting a little bit down the road, notified me on the radio that he had observed this vehicle coming down the road. As it turned onto the ramp, I noticed that both the front and rear trailers both had piles of dirt that extended above the side and front rails of the trailers.
Okay, describe the vehicle if you would. You said there were two trailers. What exactly are we looking at?
So it's a diesel tractor truck pulling two dual belly dump trucks. So belly dump trailers where basically where it dumps down at the bottom with square top.
Okay, and I believe you said that you could see dirt in those trailers?
Correct. So I'm sitting in my vehicle in the driver's seat, and I observed the dirt above the side rails, even with the trailers being significantly taller than my vehicle itself. I could still see dirt above the rails.
Okay, so you were not positioned on the off ramp or something where you were higher than the vehicle?
No, I was not higher than the vehicle. I was I was basically level with where that vehicle was. Just pulled off right off the side on the shoulder of the ramp there.
So there were no tarps over the load?
No cover at all.
Okay, when you made that observation, what did you do next?
I pulled in behind the vehicle was traveling fairly slowly. It just made the turn onto the ramp there. And so I just pulled in behind him, turned on my lights, and he pulled over to the side of the road there on the ramp.
Okay. After you initiated that traffic stop, did you identify the driver?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I identified him with a driver's license. I believe it was from, I have to check my notes here. I believe it was from Wyoming. But he had looks like it was a, Wyoming driver's license is how I identified him.
And that was Kerry Roche?
Correct.
All right. After you made that stop, what further action did you take, or did you take any further actions to determine whether the loads in fact exceeded the height of the side rails?
So I approached on the passenger side, climbed up on the trailer to talk to him at the passenger side window, and as I did so, I glanced back and I could see the tops of the trailers and the dirt sticking up above them.
Okay. Could you estimate roughly how far the dirt was sticking up above the side rails?
I mean, it would be an estimate, but my guess would be a foot and a half above.
Okay. And did you make any observations as to the lowest points on the side rails?
I did not. It appeared that the center was the highest. I did not climb up into the trailer, so I'm not certain on whether it was within the 6 inches of the side rails. I'm not sure.
But what you observed was clearly that the dirt extended above the top of the side rails.
Yes. Yes. I would not have been able to even see the dirt from where I was down sitting if it wasn't above the side rails. I mean, if you take a box, you're going to see the other side before you see the dirt. And I couldn't see the other side. I'm lower than the trailers themselves. And so it required the dirt to be above the trailer the side of the trailer in order for me to actually even see the dirt.
Okay. And was that the case with both trailers?
Yes.
All right. And you said dirt. Were there other items or substances that you could see in the beds, or was it just dirt?
I mean, it looked like gravel-style dirt. There wasn't like giant rocks or anything like that. It just looked like I mean, I'm not a dirt expert, but
sure. I just mean there wasn't metal scrap or old cars or something other than that.
No. All I saw was dirt, just dried dirt. I assume there was some rocks and that kind of stuff in there, but just dirt is all I saw.
Okay. Now, you made those observations. Did you discuss what you saw with Mr. Roche?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you told him the reason you pulled him over?
Correct, yes. I walked up. He couldn't open his passenger side for some reason, so I walked around to his driver's side, informed him the reason that I had stopped him and requested his license.
All right. Did he say whether he was aware that the dirt extended above the top of the trailers?
I know he said something. I don't recall his exact words. Where I was when I climbed up to his window, his truck had a back window, so he should have been able to see the dirt from where he was sitting in his truck.
Okay. All right. So you identified the driver as Mr. Roche. You climbed up on the trailers, took a look, verified that the dirt did extend above the top of the trailers. What did you do after that? Is that the point at which you issued the citation, or did you take any other actions?
Just a quick correction of that. I didn't climb on the trailers. I climbed up the truck itself.
Okay.
Just a quick correction of that. So I climbed up on the steps there where you'd get into the truck. Just climbed up there and was able to look at the trailers that way. But yes, then I after speaking with him, obtained his license, went back to my vehicle, issued him a citation, returned, explained it to him, and that was basically for what I did.
Okay, we're going to have to pump the brakes here for a minute. I've got a message from the judge that says he can neither see nor hear us. Hold tight just a minute.
It's got to be with him. I can see and hear you both.
Mr. Allred, this is Luther Gaylord. I can also see and hear both your witness and yourself.
Okay, the judge has just chimed in on the chat, told me that he can't see any of us or hear us. I can see him and I can hear you. I did chat him back and ask him what he'd like us to do next. So let's just hold tight for a minute. Okay, it looks like he's going to try and close the link and open it up again. I think that will kick everyone out. We'll have to log back in, though. I think it looks like the only way he's going to be able to get this moving forward again.
Hello?
So if he kicks us out, then I guess we're all going to need to log back in.
Hello? Well, it didn't kick me out.
And didn't kick me out either. Looked like maybe only the judge got kicked out.
Okay, can everybody hear me now?
There he is.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I know we're doing a lot of construction up in my neck of the woods, so that may be part of it. Let me go back and tell you where I was with my notes, what I last heard. Oh, shoot. Well, picked up some of my notes, but the last thing I heard was that Sergeant Wilson had no way of seeing inside the trailer. He climbed up and had a conversation with Mr. Roach. When he looked back, he saw dirt. Mr. Allred asked a question about whether there was anything besides dirt, whether there was any metal scrap, for example, and that's where I quit hearing.
All right. If you don't mind, Your Honor, it may be a little redundant, but I want to make sure you don't lose anything. I'm just going to back up a little bit to make sure that you've got everything. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Trooper, let's back up to the point at which you stopped the vehicle. You indicated that you identified the driver by his license, and that was Mr. Roche. You indicated that you went to the passenger side of the truck, that you were able to climb up on the passenger side of the truck and look into the beds of the truck. But, Judge, I want to make sure that you've got this. He testified previously that he could also see from his position in his car, which was lower than the trucks, he could see the dirt extending above the trailers. Did you hear that part?
I did. I heard him testify that, yes, that from where he was at, he could see that it was up above. I believe you asked the question if it was below the lip, and he said he didn't get in to verify that, but where it was up above. He gave an analogy of a box, that if you wanted to do this at a box, there wouldn't be anything in the way, but it was from the lowest point, and then when he climbed up, and then I think you asked whether that was the case in one or both of the trailers, and my notes say that the officer saw that it was a foot to a foot and a half above the lip on both trailers.
Okay, I think you've heard just about everything that we talked about. Trooper, going back to that point, you had made those observations. I had asked you whether you spoke with Mr. Roche about why you had pulled him over. You indicated that he did not, to your recollection, specifically tell you or make any admissions that he knew that the dirt extended above the trailers, but that he did have a back window through which he would be able to see that. Is that what you testified?
Correct.
Okay, Your Honor, so that's where we left off.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Trooper, is that the point at which you issued the citation, or did you make any other observations or take any other actions at that point?
No, that was the point where I made where I issued the citation. And we had a brief contact just at the truck quick where I explained why I stopped him, got his license, went back, issued the citation, and then wrote the citation up, and then went back to the truck, issued that citation to Mr. Roche, and that was, for the most part, what occurred.
Okay. Now, I don't want to belabor this too much, but I just want to make sure that is there any possibility that, given the angles you were looking from or anything like that, that the dirt could have been at its highest point below the top level of the trailers?
No, I was at a lower point. It's physically impossible for me to see the dirt where I was if it was not sticking above the top. And then again, like I said, when I climbed up, I was able to look back and see basically the side rails, the front rail, and that the dirt was extended above it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions this time.
All right, Mr. Roche, do you have any questions for Sergeant Wilson?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
How long have you been employed as a Utah State Trooper?
14 years.
What training do you have about commercial vehicles and anything else?
Well, commercial vehicles were, when I first became an officer, they teach it in the academy several times throughout the 14 years. They've done follow-up in-service trainings, as well as for several years I took a class and recertified for wide load escorts as well. Everything else, I don't know necessarily what that means, so I'm not sure how to respond to that.
What other specific trainings might you have? Are you trained in?
Do you want me to go through all my training?
Give us. Your Honor, I'm going to object and just ask that it be more specific. What kind of training is he referring to?
Yeah, I think any traffic enforcement training would be appropriate. Anything that has to do with being on the highway and pulling people over, I think those would all be relevant.
I mean, so when it comes to enforcement training, that kind of stuff, we do that every year with our in-service. We do scenarios and that kind of stuff. We have code, and we have training on the code, legal updates, that kind of stuff. Every single year when there's legislative sessions, in fact, I just got out of one last week where they did an update on the laws that we deal with that have been changed or implemented. Basically, we're required a minimum of 40 hours every year of training when it comes to law enforcement, and typically speaking, we generally get 200 to 300 hours or more every year.
Do you have any training in de-escalation of tense interactions with public?
Yeah.
Okay. How often are you expected to go to a shooting range and certify your ability to fire your arms?
Objection, irrelevant.
I agree, Mr. Roche. I don't see how that's relevant to being pulled over on the highway. There's no allegation or anything that a weapon was pulled or that was a part of it at all.
Okay. What does your performance objective entail for your reviews?
You'll have to be more specific. I don't know exactly what you mean.
When you get your periodic reviews for promotions or whatever, you have a performance objective standard that they discuss with you, do they not?
I'm a sergeant, so there's not a performance standard on stops, if that's what you mean.
Okay.
You have to be more specific. I'm not exactly sure what specifically you're wanting.
Are you required to stop a certain number of vehicles or issue a certain number of citations annually?
No, because I'm a sergeant, I have no requirement to stop any vehicles at all.
Okay, how long have you been a sergeant?
3 years now.
Prior to that, how many citations or traffic stops did you have to make?
I was not required. I've never been required to have a specific number of traffic stops.
Okay, so the performance objective is just kind of speculative? You did enough or you didn't, depending on the mood of whoever's given the review?
I mean, there's not a specific number. It's obvious by looking at how many accidents a trooper handles, how much free time they have that they're not using, whether they're working. So we'll look at stuff like that, but I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Close enough. When you stop me, you're basically claiming that there was a safety issue with my load.
Correct.
Okay. Do you ever stop any vehicles that have an EX on the plate when they're loaded above the boards?
I have yet to actually observe an EX vehicle with it loaded above board. Not saying that hasn't happened, but I have not observed that.
That would be convenient, don't you think?
And can I just add, I don't do this very often. I don't know what you guys are talking about, what an EX is. If you could please just let me know so I can follow along with something.
So city, state, basically government vehicles have an EX license plate, insinuating that I only stop other people, not the government.
Yeah, and then I'm not, again, that wasn't the question that was asked or answered, so Mr. Wilson, please don't, or City Sergeant, please don't
Oh, sorry.
add or imply what Mr. Roche was intending to ask. Okay, I've no EX. I'm with you. That I do understand. Okay.
So,
and Mr. Roche, the comment that Sergeant Wilson made has been disregarded.
okay. So when you're having 100% enforcement and stopping every vehicle, do you pull in the EX plated vehicles?
I don't understand. If I have 100% enforcement, what?
When the highway patrol sets up on the side of the road and stops every truck, do you stop the trucks that come through with EX plates and inspect them, check their weight, load securement, etc.?
Your Honor, asked and answered, he's already testified that he hasn't personally observed any EX plates with an with an excess load.
I disagree, Your Honor, because I specifically asked. The first question was that day.
No, I agree. No, Mr. Roche, I agree. The question was a little different. You asked not about a specific load height, but just whether if they do enforcement, if they do universal enforcement, basically. Is that essentially what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's a relevant question.
So I guess my answer would be yes if we were doing 100% enforcement, which we never do. We never pull over 100% of people that pass us. It's impossible. But if we were doing 100% enforcement and I saw an EX plate that had safety issues, I would pull that vehicle over, yes.
Okay. All right. The truck you stopped right after me was a Dan Bailey truck. You actually jumped up onto the deck of his trailer, walked up, squatted down to look across the boards, because there was a little teeny ridge down the center of his trailer that stuck up about 2 inches, so you could issue a citation. Why did you not do that for mine?
I was able to see your load from a different location, so I didn't need to climb up on your trailers. 2 inches would be significantly underestimated, but I verified yours from a different location. That's all I needed to do.
Okay, do you have any evidence besides your testimony?
Yeah, in fact, you can, Grandma request my body camera, and you actually, I videoed from the side of yours, and you can see a little heap of dirt sticking up above it. It's a little wide, and it's quick, so you'd have to pause it, but you can see it.
Okay, other than you didn't feel the need to present it before the prosecution rested. So we are still sitting where the prosecution is rested, and the only evidence you have is your testimony.
The prosecution hasn't rested yet, but you are correct. The only testimony that has been proffered by the prosecutor to this point is the officer's testimony.
So I have the video footage, yes, and you cannot see anything on a video of mine. The other one was so pathetic that you pulled him over, you had to jump up and squat down to look across it. Was
and then Mr. Roche, Mr. Roche, you will, if you want to, in just a minute when the prosecutor does rest, you will have a chance to testify, and I'll swear you in and you can explain all this. Right now is the time to ask the questions to the officer. So ask the questions, but you will have a chance to testify and explain any of this that you would like me to know from your perspective. Absolutely.
I apologize. I should have phrased it as a question.
No, you're fine.
I should have phrased it as a question, and I know that. Okay, so you actually did you not actually make an effort to jump up and get video footage of the load after mine, but not mine?
I got on the side of your vehicle and I got video footage of yours.
Okay. At this time, I have no further questions, but I reserve the right to cross-examine after the video.
Okay.
No further direct, no additional witnesses. Say rest.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Roche, now is the time where if you'd like to be sworn in, if you'd like to present any evidence yourself, now would be the time to do so. And so, would you like to present evidence? Would you like to testify on your behalf? Or would you like to exercise your right to remain silent?
I have no evidence to present, as the prosecution doesn't either, so.
Okay, would you like to testify? You'd explained a few things. Again, you have no obligation to, but if you'd like to, kind of alluded some things to questions, you can be sworn in and testify if you'd like to. If you do testify, Mr. Allred can ask you questions if he chooses to, but you have an absolute right to either testify or remain silent. So would you like to testify, be sworn in and testify, or would you like to exercise your right to remain silent?
I have no desire to testify. Anything I need to address, I will address when I question the officer again.
Okay. Mr. Allred, is there any more evidence you intend to present?
No, city rest.
Okay, so, you can call the officer as a witness and ask questions if you'd like to, or I'll allow you to keep cross-examining the officer, because it doesn't look like Mr. Allred is going to present any additional evidence, so it doesn't look like he's going to present a video or anything like that.
Okay, well, they sent me the video, Your Honor, and the reason he's not presenting it is because there's nothing on it that shows my load above the boards. So, motion to dismiss with prejudice, and a court order that all record of this be removed from the FMCSA score of myself and the company.
Okay, your motion is denied at this point. I'm still going to kind of let closing arguments happen, but your motion is noted. All right, so if no party has any additional evidence, then Mr. Allred, do you want to make a closing argument? Mr. Roche, Mr. Allred goes first because he has the burden of trying to prove you're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, not the other way around, and so he will make his argument first. Then you'll have a chance to make an argument. An argument is you can just explain any and all reasons why you think I should or should not rule in a particular way. That's what arguments are. And then once both parties are done making the arguments, then I can make a ruling.
Well, can I go ahead and present the video then? Have him play the video.
I guess you can present it as part of your case. Do you have the video available and ready to play, sir?
Not on my phone. Your court clerk has it. She sent it to me. We have his body cam footage and the dash cam footage, front and rear of the car.
I don't have any objection to the video being played. I don't have it if the court can play it or he can play it, whatever. I have no objection.
All right, Lisa, do you have access to that, or can you send it? Can you send it to me, and I think I can share a screen if I'm looking at it.
We've had trouble with sending it before, but I can try.
Okay, do you have an ability to play it on your? I can make you the presenter, and then I think you can share.
Could try that.
Okay, I'm going to make you a presenter. You could always give it back to me, but you are now the presenter, which should allow you to play a video and just share with all of us. Oh, there you go. Okay. Mr. Roche, can you see, did the screen change for you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I cannot see it on being on a phone to tell, but there was different quality of video. So the body cam footage is for a traffic stop of an automobile, then his drive over to the ramp, so you're going to want to skip forward a fair bit to get past the traffic stop. It's completely irrelevant.
So is there a particular video you want me to play? I agree. I don't think we need to sit here and watch 3 hours of video or however long it happens to be. Is there a particular video you want me to look at?
Well, we need to look at apparently the dash cam and the body cam. I believe this is the dash cam that she's pulled up, the body cam. So let's say when it starts to play, we're going to need to fast forward a bit. At this time, I don't have the actual point on it, but it's not hard to fast forward until he's sitting on the ramp and you see the semi pass.
Approximately 19 minutes.
That's a
For those that are here for the Small Claims Matter, I know we're well past time. I'm so sorry. We will get to it as soon as we can. So we need to make sure that we, in all trials, give everyone the full time they need. All right, we are now watching it. Hello? Yeah, I'm not sure who this is. It's a Small Claims Matter. We're still in the middle of a trial. We're just looking at video at this point. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're fine. I know we're well past time. Well, I've got nowhere to go. I'll secure my load normally. He's getting hearing from Is there anything else on this video, Mr. Roche, that you want me to look at?
Yes.
Or we can...
On his,
okay, all right.
On his body cam video, you can already see that in the video, you obviously can't see dirt above the boards as he states, but right after he gets done with me, he pulls over the next truck and jumps up to squat down and show you how egregiously that one is breaking the law. I believe that ticket was dismissed. If the clerk wants to fast forward a little bit faster until we get to where he's pulled over the other truck, that would be fine with me. There's no better views of this one. Okay, slow down to normal speed, please.
Is this still the defendant's truck, or is this a different truck?
This is the Dan Bailey truck. He stopped after me. Please reduce to normal speed.
All right, I don't care if I'm going to object. If you want to overrule, it's fine, but I'm not sure how this has any relevance to his truck and his particular stop.
This goes to show the effort he would take to obtain evidence, because he did more to obtain evidence on this stop than he did on mine. And this one will also show how ridiculous he was being trying to write citations.
And again, Mr. Roche, we're not going to use those words, just like I tell the officer. Again, you can make an argument. I do agree with relevancy. What happened with another stop, I don't see the relevance with what happened in your stop, so I don't see the relevance in this one. I understand the argument you're making. And although it's an argument certainly for a closing argument, it's not a legal argument. So I'm going to
okay. There's no reason.
We're not going to watch that video.
Okay. This video shows the other videos don't show anything. This one doesn't. So I will rest.
Okay. So, Your Honor, under Rule 106, then any video that is shown, the other party has the ability to request that it be shown in its full context. I think it basically has, but it went past fairly quickly. I'm not very familiar with the shape of these trucks. There was a point at which it was facing the back of the truck, and I couldn't tell if that was dirt or some part of the truck that was sticking up. So I do think we need to go back to where his body cam is pointing to the back of the trailers, just to see. Now, we'll have to ask some questions of the officer, obviously, and I can do that if you'd like me to do some follow-up here.
Oh, I think based on the video, based on the testimony of the officer, I think said at one point that part of the testimony was that, and there's part of the video where you could see that it was extending above. Likewise, I didn't see anything, so I may have missed something if that is the testimony. So certainly,
right. Question is going to be, where is his body cam? In other words, if his body cam is down on his chest, that's going to be a different view than he had from up high, and so I don't know that we know that in order to evaluate that video, but I think we do need to look at the back of that truck. It may not show anything but the back of the truck, but there was something sticking up, and I couldn't tell, and I think we all need to look at that and see.
Well, like I said, my recollection is the officer did testify that there was some sort of video where you could see a little bit, and that's certainly I would want to see whatever that part was, in addition to anything else that the other party feels is appropriate.
Okay, hold on. We need to back up just a little bit. To see the back of that trailer, I'm sorry. Yeah, so going forward, I assume that what I'm looking at the top of that trailer is just the top of the trailer. That's not something sticking up above the trailer. I can't tell for sure what that is because I don't know what those trailers look like exactly. The dark section, is that just the back of the trailer?
Is that a question to the officer?
I guess it's to the officer or
It is.
Well, I can't question the other testify, but
you don't need to answer if you don't want to, but I think that at this point would be a question for the officer, Wills.
So basically these trailers have wood boards, flat wood boards. Basically they're, I mean, I could be off a little bit, but they're basically like 2x6s or something to that effect.
Okay, I couldn't tell what that was. I didn't know if that was something sticking up above the bed or whether that was what you described as the 2x6 there.
If you would like. Go ahead. I'll say what I had to say when you're done saying what you're going to.
The point that I'm basically they're just flat there. It's like I said before, it's difficult to see. It's a wide-angled lens. It's not like it's really close. But you have to pause it just about right, and then you can see a little bit of rock or dirt. It's not the flat board. It's jagged, is where you can kind of see in the video.
Okay. The rear of that trailer is made out of steel plate and arches. That's why you notice when he's walking from the back to the front or from the front to the back, it has a similar arch both times, front and rear. It is boards on the sides. The front trailer is boards all the way around on the very top. That is why everything is completely flat all the way around the first trailer. But the rear trailer, when they built it, for whatever reason, they arched it on the front and rear. And if you slow down the video to speed as he's walking by, you can see you might be able to see the steel gussets going up and down to support that steel plate at the front and rear of the pub.
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with those truck beds and wasn't certain what we were looking at there, so all good explanations. Thank you.
Yeah. But that's why as you see it, it is not jagged like dirt that had been dumped in. You can see plain as day. It is a smooth arch.
Mr. Carey, let me do something real quick. Let me swear you in. If you're going to be testifying and you want me to consider this evidence, let me swear you in real quick, and so what you say I'm allowed to consider, unless you don't want that to be the case.
Well, I'm not testifying. You guys asked if I wanted to help explain the trailer. There was no reason to present evidence because, even...
That's fine. You're just starting to explain some things. I just wanted to make sure if you were explaining this.
Well, and you were asking specifically if I would explain the trailer. And that one there, I will go that far. But no, I have no intention of being sworn in and testifying because there's no need.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Is there any other evidence then or any other videos, Mr. Roach, or any other evidence you would like me to consider before you rest?
The only other video that I, again, would think is relevant is the fact that he did jump on the next one and squat down to look across it.
Yeah, and you've presented that, and that's already been ruled on. So,
right.
Okay.
So, at this point, I rest because again, they have no evidence. So, motion to dismiss with prejudice, lack of evidence, and have all of this stricken from my FMCSA score and VFT's FMCSA score.
And again, the motion to dismiss based on lack of evidence. There has been evidence presented. There has been the testimony of the officer, which is evidence. Now, whether or not that's beyond a reasonable doubt, I haven't made a ruling on that. And so, based on lack of evidence, no, that motion is denied. But again, I haven't made a ruling whether or not the prosecutor is going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the statute's been violated. So. Okay, well, I think now's the time unless there's a redirect to go to closing arguments.
So I would like to redirect. I want to make sure we get this correct one way or the other, and if you'll permit me some redirect, I would like that.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go.
Mr. Wilson, I just remind you they're still under oath.
Yes.
Okay. Trooper, I have not, obviously the video was provided in Discovery, but I have not personally viewed either that video or the dash cam video. Was your dash cam also operating correctly at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. And did it also capture this event?
No, my dash cam is unable to capture that. I'm too close to the truck, and being right behind it, I was able to see the dirt when there was approximately a lane or so between. Like, you have to step further from the truck to see it, not right next to it. So no, there's nothing that the dash cam's going to catch.
Okay. And where is your body camera worn on your body?
My body cam is just on my chest here.
Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, so that's basically chest height. I basically took it off. If you watch the video, I took it off, moved it sideways, and then put it back on. And I know, like I said, I know it's hard to see. I could personally see it. I still believe if you stop it, that you can see a little bit sticking up there, but it's super difficult to see on the video. But yes, my head would be higher than, I didn't raise the camera up above my head, or even at eye level.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No further questions then.
Redirect.
Okay.
Redirect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to go ahead and play the dash cam video, front and rear. Let's start with the rear dash cam video. It shows the most.
No objection.
Okay. Lisa, do you have the dash cam video?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to give you control again?
No.
I'm going to ask that it be paused at a point here in a moment so I can ask some questions, please.
Certainly can do that.
Not seeing a video file. I don't see a video file.
And I can't see your screen anymore, and it would be so small that I wouldn't be able to read it from where I'm at anyway. There we go. Oh, that's okay.
This is what comes up for me.
Yeah, and none of them are labeled or named something in particular that I would have any idea which one.
Like a video file. I don't see anything to open.
She sounds like Charlie Brown's school teacher. I can't hear what she's saying.
Yeah, she's saying that she's not seeing any other videos, and she's going through and trying to see if there's another video, and she's not finding it, is what she's saying.
It's in a different file on all the stuff she sent me, but it is in a different file. It'll actually say dash cam on it at some point.
A video? I don't think so. I don't have a video file under dash cam.
All right, Mr. Roche, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can find the video or it's readily available. If you have it available, I could, but you said you're on your phone, so you don't have an ability to show it.
No, she sent it to me on a USB drive. I can't plug it into my phone.
Yeah, so we may be, unfortunately, because we're not in court together, we may be a little bit stuck as far as being able to see it.
Yeah, I can't even see what it is she's doing, but I say it's in there. When the files are there, I mean, I found it, and I'm a dumb truck driver.
Well, I wouldn't definitely classify you as a dumb truck driver, but I understand what you're saying. You're not a tech person.
So it plays with a different player than Windows won't play it. It plays on, I'm wanting to say it's Panasonic. Whatever brand, he can look at his body camera or his dash camera, I guess it would be. Whatever brand name is on it might help her find the file.
Kim, you're techie. You want to try? I don't see it at all. Any of the files have been going through. They're all for 83 files or document files. But I can check. Let me check Common Drive. Give me a minute.
Did you have any other questions for Sergeant Scott while we're seeing if the clerk can find it in another folder?
Sure. Since you're
you
willing,
don't have to. I'm just saying if you do.
Yeah. Since you were willing to jump up on the truck after me and get actual picture of the load, why did you not do that on this one?
I didn't feel it was necessary because I could see it from the side of your truck.
But you felt it was necessary on the other truck you pulled over, and you issued a citation to him too.
And again, it's asking questions. Again, you'll have a chance to make a closing argument, but now's the time.
Well, that was meant as a question. So why would you do it to that one, but not mine? When again, you don't have any video evidence. The only evidence you're presenting is your testimony, and your job is to write traffic citations. Is it not?
No, my job is not to write traffic citations.
What is your job?
My job is a sergeant so I am a supervisor of troopers, and even troopers' job is not to write traffic citations. Our job is to try and make the road safest.
Really? Have you ever written traffic citations or pulled over another police officer from any division, city, county, sheriff, anything like that?
Yes.
Did you actually write the citation?
Yes.
Have you ever arrested another officer?
No, I've never pulled over an officer for an arrestable offense.
Have you ever witnessed another policeman from any, city, county, or state break a law?
Well, I told you I issued a citation to one already, so that would already be obvious. Yes.
Okay. Other than traffic citations. Traffic
So
infractions.
what's the question then?
But other
So what's
than,
the question?
have you ever witnessed another police officer commit a crime other than a traffic infraction? Misdemeanor, felony, etc.
No.
Have you ever witnessed another officer use excessive force?
Objection goes beyond the scope of anything we're doing here, talking about here.
Sustained. I agree, Mr. Roche. It's not, where you're going is not relevant to your being pulled over. There's no allegations of excessive force. That's not an issue in front of the court. Whether it did or did not happen is not relevant to your citation.
How many trucks did you pull over that day and write a similar ticket to?
Several.
How many is several?
I would be guessing if I were to give you a number. So several is the best you'll get.
Okay. How many of them did you jump up and take actual video footage of the load being above the boards?
I do not know.
More than one?
I do not know.
Do you think that's convenient?
I
Objection.
don't understand that question.
Sustained. That's a pretty vague question. I'm not sure what's being asked either.
Okay. Do you think it's convenient that you don't recall jumping up onto trailers to actually verify the loads are overload or above the boards, but on mine you recall it crystal clear from the ground, but bring no evidence other than your recollection that is now vague on other things that happened that very day?
That was a little too much. You're going to have to simplify that question.
Do you think it's convenient to not remember other stops on that very day, even within a few minutes, but to remember this one so well, but not... well, answer that one first, and we'll move on to the other half of it.
So do I think it's convenient to remember yours?
Yeah, but not the truck right after it that they won't let the video play for.
I haven't been asked anything about that stuff.
I've asked you several times about jumping up on that truck so that you could verify the load stuck up above it and actually positioning your camera to do so.
Okay.
And we have video evidence right here. It's just not being allowed to play, which I believe is very exculpatory.
I guess I still don't. I'm not sure if it's convenient or not. I guess that's the answer. I don't quite understand what you're asking specifically.
Does your recollection seem to be intermittent on events that happened within 10 minutes of each other?
Your Honor, I think he's making arguments which are fine to make, but they're not concise questions. Are we still looking for the other video, or have we given up on that? Because it feels like we're just sort of filling time now waiting for that video.
Let's address both of those. I agree, Mr. Roche. What you're saying, I think, is certainly is part of a closing argument that I anticipate that you'll make. I'm having a hard time finding a specific question other than what feels like it's already been asked and answered. Concerning a video, Lisa, are we still looking for a video?
I can't find it. I looked for it too, and I just can't locate it. There's no video in the dash cam file.
Okay. Why don't you stop the screen share then? So Mr. Roche, it does not look like there's a video that we'll be able to watch for the dash cam. And so is there any other evidence that you would like to present today?
Just the body cam footage that is very exculpatory. It shows shows his intent.
And you're talking about the video from the second one that I've already ruled on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we've already ruled on that one, so I understand that. Okay. So if there's no other evidence at this point, then it's just time for a closing argument. Mr. Allred?
Sure. Your Honor, the trooper testified that he was there looking specifically for trucks that had loads that extended above the highest point of the truck beds that weren't tarped. He indicated that there was a problem with that going on in that area. That's why he was there looking for that specific issue. He testified that from his vantage point, he could see that the dirt was sticking up above the bed of the trailer. We all saw the dash cam video, and it was not evident from that video that there was dirt sticking up above. That's true. But it is also true that the dash cam is significantly lower than his eye level, and would perhaps not have picked up what his eyes picked up. And so it would seem highly unlikely, wouldn't make a lot of sense that he's out looking for trucks with loads that exceed the appropriate height limit and simply pull over trucks that don't that need that. So there's clearly a discrepancy between that body cam and what he testified to seeing, but there's also a good explanation for that. It's lower than his eye level, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, Mr. Roche.
I have 30 years experience driving truck. There is no evidence presented of a single citation sticking to my record, because there are none. My job is to make sure I do everything safely. That's why I have no accidents and no citations. His job is to write citations. Every truck he pulled over, he wrote a citation to that day. He did not issue warnings. And again, there's video evidence of nothing over the boards of my trailer. Even from a distance back, he parked some 40, 50 foot behind my truck, and you can see that in the video. And again, the video you won't allow in shows him actually jumping up to verify, and he did not do that on this one. So I have a record of doing everything right and not getting citations. He has a record of writing citations. That is his job. No matter what anybody tries to pass it off as, they are there to generate revenue. There is no evidence presented to show anything except his testimony. His testimony should not have any more value than mine, especially since he can't remember something that he did less than 10 minutes after writing me a citation. So if we're going on his recollection and his expertise, he ought to be able to remember something that happened 5 to 10 minutes later. I rest.
Thank you. All right, so I'm prepared to rule today, and so the standard is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is not, with certainty, but it's certainly more than, 50-50, right? That's the civil, is that preponderance of the evidence, 50, if it's 51% of the scales, tip it all. And so it's more than that. It's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. So my job is to take a look at the evidence presented and see if beyond a reasonable doubt that the prosecutor could prove that you were carrying dirt, sand, gravel, rock, fragments, pebbles, et cetera, that need to be covered, unless they don't need to be covered if the highest point of the load does not extend above any of the exterior wall or sideboard of the cargo compartment of the vehicle, and the outer edge of the load, or at least 6 inches below the top inside edge of the exterior walls or sideboards of the cargo compartment of the vehicle, right? So if the load is below the top and it's at least the outer edge is at least 6 inches below, then there's no need for a covering. So the question is, did the prosecutor or was the city able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that happened, right? We have the testimony of the officer. The officer testified that from his vantage point that it was clear that it was above it, and that when he stood on the side of it, that it was a foot to foot and a half above. He did not testify or said he did not check anything about the 6-inch portion. So really we're just talking about, was it above or not, and did the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt? I find there was a little discrepancy in the testimony as far as it being easily visible from a seated position in an SUV, but being unable to see it in a video from a body cam that certainly would be a little bit lower, but based on angles and geometry shouldn't have made that much of a difference. And so if this was a civil case, if this was a preponderance of the evidence, I would find Mr. Roche liable. Because this is beyond reasonable doubt, because the testimony of the sergeant there is some discrepancy with the video, and the video does not show. I looked very closely. I expanded the video that's going through. I looked for anything that would show me above. And again, because of the discrepancy and because the video doesn't show anything, and that's not, again, any one of those is not dispositive by itself, but with the beyond reasonable doubt, I do find in this case that again, if there's civil liability, yes, but because it's beyond reasonable doubt, the city did not prove beyond reasonable doubt in this specific case. The load was above in violation of the statute, so the case well, not dismissed, but you're found not guilty, maintain the presumption of innocence.
Okay. May I move the court to have this stricken from the FMCSA record as well?
I don't control the FMCSA record. I don't even know what that is. There are things you can do to have things expunged, even allegations that the forms are free, they're online.
If I may, sir, the officer is the only one that can remove it. If I fight it through FMCSA, it simply kicks it back to him, and to be vindictive or whatever, he can leave it there. That's why I'm requesting a court order that he himself remove it from the FMCSA.
If you want to submit an order, I don't know enough about this issue that I feel comfortable ruling on it, and so I would need to see what's going on. Like I said, I don't know anything about this. I don't even know if I have the authority to do that. And so I'm not saying no, I'm just saying I've never been asked that, and I just don't know. And as a judge, I'm very careful to not try to do things that I don't know if I have the authority to do. And I will say, Mr. Roche, as well, your argument as far as this some kind of conspiracy theory stuff, that didn't carry any weight at all. I disagree with that. But based on the actual law, that's a different issue. I don't find that Sergeant Wilson was trying to be, was lying or trying to hide anything. I just think, again, that preponderance of the evidence sometimes can be a hard thing, or beyond reasonable doubt can be a hard thing. But I don't. Again, the whole argument of he's being vindictive, that's not what I see. But if you want to submit a motion, I'm happy to look at it. I obviously can't tell you how I'm going to rule on it because like I said, I don't even know if I have the authority to. And so I'd have to. I just don't know.
Simply ask him. He's still here.
Again, if you want to file a motion, I don't know. Even if he has the authority to remove it, I don't know if I have the authority to order him to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I have the authority to order it. And so if you want to submit an order, you want me to look at it, I will absolutely look at it. But I don't know if I have the authority to or to not. I don't even know. Frankly, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so I would feel very uncomfortable ordering something when, one, I don't know if I have the authority to. Two, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's just, it goes so far beyond the scope of what I'm comfortable with that I don't feel comfortable ordering it one way or another. So I'm not saying I'm, no, but I also can't say yes. I'd have to see it and maybe do a little research or take a look at it. So I can't. I don't feel like I can tell you one way or the other on this. So again, the answer is not no, because I don't know, but for the same reason as that, I can't say yes, because I don't know. I don't know if I even have the authority to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sergeant Wilson.
Anything else from the city, Your Honor?
Oh, I think we just have the small claims matter.
Okay.
And again, Sergeant Wilson, I didn't find that you were being dishonest. The whole argument of the got to write tickets and stuff, I don't mind. That has not been my experience as a judge. I don't see that either. Like I said, it's just beyond a reasonable doubt. Sometimes it's a high burden.
I appreciate it. Next time I'll get a closer video of every vehicle. No worries.
All right. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Mr. Alder.
Thanks. See you next time.
All right, so now is way past the time for the small claims matter. Thank you so much for being patient. I really apologize. Normally, anytime we have a traffic citation, they're normally about a 30-minute case. I mean, to have it go, an hour and a half is really, really unusual. And so, but it is time for the matter. Is this Mr. Pentito or Mr. Rammel that's on? Phone number ending in 86, is that Mr. Pentito or Mr. Rammel?
It's a 0086 Rammel, and that's
touch the window up there. That's